With this Bowden stay unbeaten, James Bostic did a lot to do that. 19 carries, 183 yards, and 3 scores. Would Air Zaire be able to bring Georgia back down 21-7? Trying to do it, but the tip is intercepted by Chris Schelling. 73 yards later, Auburn has a lead that would turn out to be insurmountable. 28-7 at this point. Tigers win 42-28, equaling their best record ever. Chance for the perfect season next week at home in the Iron Bowl against Alabama. Florida just needs to in a fierce battle in the desert.
Now just 1 win away from a perfect season. The Tigers made it 10 in a row this afternoon between the hedges in Athens, Georgia. James Bostic had a huge day coming off the bench to run for 183 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tigers led 21-7 at the half. Key play of the game happened midway through the third quarter. Eric Zaire's pass is tipped. Chris Schelling picks it off and takes it back all the way, 73 yards. It's the 4th time this year the Tigers have returned an interception for a touchdown, and a nice little exclamation point by Schelling on the dive. Still in the third, Stan White hangs it up for Frank Sanders. Auburn on top, 35-14 after 3. Zaire brought the Dogs back with a pair of touchdown passes. This one to Brian Bohannon cut the Tiger lead to 7 with 3.5 minutes to go. But big James Bostic put it away from the 27. It's his 3rd touchdown of the game. The Tigers are still undefeated. They beat the Dogs 42-28. Up next, the Iron Bowl, 1 week from today.
Today, we became the best team in the SEC in our minds and on the field. And they can't take that away from us no matter what happens the rest of the season. Alabama's next with our last of our goals, undefeated in the state championship.
Well, like I said, it feels real good, you know. And like I said, I give all the credit to my offensive line and the fullbacks and receivers for the great blocking they've done for me this year.
I never felt like it was put away until the last minute of the game. I mean, that's the way Georgia's offense is, and that's the way Eric Zaire is.
Murder, She Wrote will not be seen tonight due to the
spot in the new AP poll. The Tigers are now number 6. Alabama is ranked 11th. Notre Dame is the new number 1. Florida State falls only 1 spot to number 2, so the stage is set for a possible game of honors. Bama linebacker Lemansky Hall picked up the defensive honors by returning a blocked kick for a touchdown and making 2 interceptions and 8 tackles in the Tide's win over Mississippi State. James Bostic is the offensive player of the week, 183 yards and 3 touchdowns between the hedges. So the stage is set for the Iron Bowl Saturday afternoon at Jordan-Hare.
Now, not only do we have the biggest rival that we've got, not only do we have the state championship, not only have the undefeated team, but it's the championship for us.
We're looking forward to playing Alabama. We're going to go back to work tomorrow, study their films, and I think if we prepare well, I think we can come out with a victory.
Personally, I prefer to be the underdog. If you can remember, we was the underdog. We played in the Sugar Bowl, and we came out victorious. And we probably be the underdog going into the Iron Bowl, but that's fine. It's going to make us work harder and just play a little harder.
I think it's a good enough win for us to go into the long game, even though they beat Georgia pretty bad today. But, you know, we're going to go down there and play them hard, you know, like we've been doing the whole season.
Are you glad they beat Georgia so you could be the first team to give them their loss?
Yes, I am glad to be for them to beat Georgia, you know, so we can go down there and beat them in their home stadium.
Ooh, that is what the coaches call bulletin board material. I wonder if the VCRs were rolling in Auburn. Now, if you started coaching right now and you won 10 games a year, it would take you until the year 2025 to catch Don Shula. Amazing. 325. Shula finally reached the magic.
They can play for the conference championship, but we're the best in the conference. One on the field. Fellas, I'm proud of you. I am so proud of you. Nobody, they don't believe somewhere else, but you believed right here. They can put you an underdog and you're seventh in the nation, but you believe. And then I'm proud of you because you don't need nobody else to believe as long as you believe. And you did. And that's a great job. Defense played, great effort. Offense, way to put the points up. Great overall win, man. Great overall win. We're going to savor it all night long. And then on Sunday morning, it's Bama. And you want to say something, man, real quick now?
Hey, fellas, like Coach just said, Sunday, that's where it all starts, baby. That is where it all starts, baby. We got to carry it from Sunday to Saturday, baby.
Auburn football review. Auburn 42, Georgia 28 in a wonderful Saturday afternoon football game at Sanford Stadium in Athens. And congratulations, Terry Bowden, the first Auburn coach ever to win 10 games in his first year.
Well, I thank you very much, and I'm pleased and excited, but all because of those players. Our players have dedicated themselves, and they've gone out and done it. I'm glad that I've gotten to come along for the ride.
You know, it's time to acknowledge that this is the best team in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, we talked about that. We didn't get in the paper and talk about it, but you know, we're not eligible for the conference championship. And before they had divisions and a bowl game, a championship game, you won by the best record. And right now, we're a lock. We have the best record in the conference. If there was the old way, we'd be in the Sugar Bowl right now. And so we wanted to recognize that goal. It's not the ending goal, and we have plenty more to shoot for. And maybe the biggest prize of all, above the conference championship. But they wanted to be the best in the conference. This team has risen in 1 year back to be the best in the conference.
And they proved it yesterday with a really resounding victory. Let's go to the dressing room and talk to some of those young men who played so marvelously yesterday.
Their offense is so potent, and we knew they were going to drive the ball, and we just knew we had to run some time off and try to get some points while we were doing that. And you know, Boston made some great runs. Line did a great job, and we passed the ball when we needed to, and that's what counts.
Mark of a great team when you can answer a big score.
Exactly. I mean, you know, they came out and scored and got another quick one, and you know, we answered right back, and that's the reason we're 10-0 right now, and we just got one more to go.
This was an all-day job, wasn't it?
I'll tell you what, it was about 75 degrees out there. It's a little bit hotter than we've been used to, but you know, we got a ring, and that's all it counts.
It was a 60-minute game, and that's how most of our games have been this year. And we knew that they was going to come back, even though we was up at half. We knew they was going to keep fighting because they really need this game. And we just kept playing and kept playing hard, and we ended up on top.
We just got after him, and we got Bosco. He just got 1,000 yards this game, and we're real proud of that. That's a big accomplishment for us linemen, for our running backs to get 1,000 yards. And I'm just as proud of that as this win. Yeah, they came out and blocked too hard today, you know. Like I give all the credit to the offensive line and Tony Richardson and Reed McMillan, fullback, and Sean Carter and Frank Sanders was good, tremendous blocking today.
You know, in the second half, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot a couple of times, but, you know, a great offensive team as we are, you know, we just picked back up and put the points on the board.
One more.
Yeah, that's it, one more.
That was surprising the way they came back. But our defense stepped it up when it was important. Mark Johnson made a great interception. Our offense went out there and said, look, we got to win it. And the guys on the sideline kept saying we will not be denied. And as long as they believe that, we won't be denied.
You know, Coach Bowden just said, you know, the best team is going to win, you know, and I feel that we were well prepared, came in the game. They had time to scope us out, but I feel that Coach Bowden and his staff did a great job of preparing us for it.
It was all day. It was a tough game. It was a hard fight. The offense ran up and down the field, and they did it for us. Defense made a few mistakes. We coming out fourth quarter. We stuck in there. We put pressure on Zaire.
You got them a big touchdown, and you stopped them 2 or 3 times deep, too. That made a lot of difference.
Oh, yeah. I think everybody just got together, and we just dug deep in and just fought.
The defense, we just went out there, you know, we know how to get a good pass rush and keep it moving around. And we managed to do that.
Well, that was an all-day job, huh?
Oh, yes, it was. We had to get after it all day. We knew Georgia had the type of offense that can score at any time, so we had to stay in the whole game.
Brian got hurt right then, so I got a chance to go in, and we were right down there on the goal line around the 5-yard line. Guy went inside, and I just happened to get up underneath him and caught the ball. It's a good catch.
It was a blitz call, and the quarterback kind of checked off to the man who Chris was sticking, and I happened to back up and tilt the ball, and he came up with a good catch.
And you knew what to do with it, huh?
Yeah, I kind of knew what to do with when I caught the ball. They've been joking on me a lot about not scoring when I get the interception. So today I had to go out and try to make it. I wanted it bad today. That's why I dove in the end zone.
They moved the ball up and down the field on us, but we came up with the big plays when we had to, and we prevailed in the end.
That's right. It must be remembered that the defense got to score and stop them on several key times.
We knew we had to score at least one touchdown today, get some turnovers for the offense, and that's exactly
exactly what we did and came out victorious.
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, it was a good win for us. We went out, we prepared well for it. They caught us in some situations sometimes, but defense made big plays, and we were able to overcome the obstacles.
Don't know what your situation will be next week, but I know you'll be there one way or the other.
Yeah, we're going to take a trip up to Birmingham Monday and have a look at it, and we'll just go from there.
Full day's work all the way to the end, all the way to the end.
Your guys hung in there a long time.
I know, heck, we make a big play, and then we give up a big play. You know, it's been one of those years, but it was fun.
Remember that you got a touchdown and you stopped them 2 or 3 key times.
Oh, Lord, it was a lot of fun. Kids are playing hard. You know, Phil, you look at what we got, you know, they just playing their hearts out. That's all I can say.
Wish we had more than 5 minutes today. We'll be back with Coach Terry Bowden and the highlights of the great win in just a minute. It's a warm and humid day at Sanford Stadium, and I bet the coach was worried about the pass rush. Going to have to rush him 50 times?
Anytime you got warm weather, and warm weather this late, we haven't had that much lately, it's going to affect your pass rush because those guys give out earlier. But it didn't happen, and they were ready. Our fans were there. It was a great day. I tell you, fans, y'all are helping us win ball games.
That's
and
true.
what your excitement before the game, during the game, and after the game meant as much to our victory as anything else.
You really set the tone on the first defensive series here by, this is the first 3 plays they run, and you stop them every time.
3 straight series, and stopped everybody. Big Anthony Harris knocks one down. We get 3 good plays, and boy, I tell you, everybody's rushing him hard.
Primus was right there.
Primus right there. Now here we almost had 7 points the other way right here. You see how close it actually came. 3rd play of the game, watch this. Boom.
Oh.
Nobody there to get him, but he throws a hard ball. The quarterback does a good job. It's hard to break on it quite the same, and we come right back and to get this thing going. Critical 3rd and 10. Nice play from Stan White, Sean Carter. Little out pattern. We had to change some of the things we were doing. Then a big play, Stan ducks under the pressure, hits old Richardson. Tony for a big first down and get this thing going. And we come out with a pretty good first series.
At the Georgia 38 now. Great block.
Steve Davis took the opening call. He started for us, just not so much because of anything other than to take some attention off of one. There's Tony Richardson coming back. The same score he had against New Mexico State last week. Same type of play field position. Offense cranked it up. Defense cranked up. Good start for us.
Okay, on their next series, you stop them. This is a 2nd and 7 you're about to see with Zaire getting sacked by Primus.
Well, I tell you,
pressure was good early.
Pressure was super. Primus had an outstanding day, and all defensive front. I think Kurt Crane and Joe Witt did a great job preparing those young men for what they had to do, and pressure was there all day. Another touchdown type interception, Brian Robinson, and so, boy, it makes you frustrated, but frustrating them too.
In the interim there, though, Georgia went 96 yards to tie the score, and now Auburn has a comeback.
Here's a 3rd
drive.
and 2. It's a 3rd and 2, and they're trying to stop a short yardage. Too many the defensive backs are up close. James Bostic popped it right through, and we're up 14-7. And we began to build a little bit of a lead here that they could never come back and catch up.
2 wild defensive plays right here.
Well, look at this. Well, see, when you first go the ball right here, you're supposed to pick it up and run. Now, as other people get around, the job is not to pick it up, but to jump on it. And so there's a time to pick it up and a time to fall on it. Right here, that cost us. But thank goodness, right here, come back. Watch Damon Primus' hand rip around right there and strip the ball. Great job there, causing the fumble now as he stripped the ball carrier.
And Calvin Jackson came up with it. And so Auburn's going to turn this turnover into a touchdown for a 2-touchdown lead.
Put into a touchdown. Here's a boy, I tell you, scrambles. Beautiful play to Stan White to scramble and hit the second receiver, Frank Sanders, who if he had stumbled down, he could have scored.
Watch 82 blocking on the Butkus Award nominee there.
Boy, 84 did a great job. We ran a stretch right there and got to the side of the end zone and got in on a 3rd and 2.
Now you'll have an opportunity to go up by 3, but you can't quite do it. But you got to stop them first here. This is 2nd and 4.
Boy, good defense. The defense swarmed and played so hard. We had so much riding on this game personally. We didn't talk about it much in the public, but we won this game so much. Oh, there's another one. Almost looked identical to the other. And kind of scares you when you see that. But we go in with a 14-point lead now, and you get that great halftime talk. If they don't score, we're going to win the game.
You must, did they do with the week they had off to prepare and maybe add some stuff, did they present you with anything unusual that you had to adjust to?
Not really. I think defensively, we know the best ways to stop our offense, and we know what they know is the best way. They just weren't able to do it with who they had. Offensively, I think they worked a little bit more in the running game. Early in the game, if they had not gotten behind, their running game was going to be a factor. But they got behind so much, 21-7, They discarded it and went to their pass, and then we got exactly into the game we thought we would have.
And we'll be back with some halftime comment in just a minute. Network is preparing a couple of items so that you'll remember this magical season the Tigers are having. First, the highlight video, which will appropriately be titled Attitude, is in the works right now. Will be out well before Christmas, early in December. It will be $29.95, and the softcover book, pictures and statistics and the whole story in a softcover book will be just $14.95. And here's how you can order each of them now. Get your order in early. That's the phone number to call right there, 1-800-488-3883. And I'm glad to see you have your attitude pin on again this week. You got some calls about that, huh?
Oh, yeah, I had to wear it. I get nervous talking about the season like it's over. I guess we have to do it to get everyone their abilities to get things for Christmas. But it makes you nervous, though, when you got one more big one, because the book isn't finished,
That's right.
is it?
No, there's still a chapter.
There's a chapter unwritten.
There's a chapter to be written. The Attitude pins, by the way, can be bought at several retail outlets, in particular the Auburn bookstores, and then they will also be on sale again at the Auburn Tailgate Show prior to the game at the stadium. We'll be back in just a minute with an exciting second half. To the second half, you actually come out and put a good drive together, but you get stopped on fourth down, and then Georgia starts the other way, and the big play.
Well, that's right. We got stopped, and then a big play comes. The very first, here it is, there's nothing happening, and all of a sudden they're about to score. Brian Robinson bats the ball up. Chris Schilling, he just wanted to score. I'm not sure he's faster than those other two fellas. He just wanted to score more than they wanted to tackle him. It's a great effort. I think he was exhausted when it happened.
And he made a great cut there to run to the other side and put some distance between them.
You know, that could have been one of those turning points in the ball game, but, you know, within 45 seconds, we kick off them on the very first play. They hit one going across the middle, caught us out of position and score, and it negates that in one shot. But there's a key right here, a key 3rd and 8. We get 8 1/4.
You got to come back on this drive.
Here's a key 3rd and 12. Stan steps around.
Wow.
He gets 17 to Reed McMillan. Offensive line just continues to block well with Coach Trickett, and Stacy Searles continues to block well. And now there's a key play, and then there's that counter. We haven't run that but 3 times in the last 5 games. It showed on our self-scout analysis, but it was a big play. The counter play was a big play to James Bostic. The fade in the corner of the end zone. We haven't seen that all year.
Wow.
Stan's been wanting to throw that, and Frank's been wanting to catch it. My brother Tommy made the call, and I said, let's go with it. And it was something I never get to watch them in practice work on that when they do it during kicking practice, and they were perfect. There's our fans.
They begin a drive. Now it's in the 4th quarter, and they go all the way on this drive, and they're still in it. It's 35-21 now, but with Zaire throwing the football, they can score very quickly.
Well, that was I thought it was a bit of pass interference there as he pushed off and worked back the outside. There's that counter play again. And boy, I tell you, every time they scored, this was frustrating for Georgia. Every time they made something happen, we countered with something else. And Bostic, 180-something yards on less than 20 carries. Boy, to see super in the backfield. And again, when you're heading towards that end zone with our fans down there and those shakers, boy, those players they just want to get in that end zone. But the pressure, see how they put pressure after pressure on him. Another near interception, the 3rd one for Brian Robinson. He's going to see that in his head over and over again. Here's the step up. Big Mark Johnson, what a great play. Maybe the play of his career that helped win the football game for Auburn as Mark Johnson made the interception that probably was broke the camel's back with that one. But later in the series, we had scored. They come back and score much later in the game, and now it's in the last quarter, and it's only 7.
Only 7, and they're going to try the onside kick.
There was about 3.5 minutes left. They got a chance. Chris Schilling makes the big play right there. And now, if we can just run some time, 3.5 minutes, if we can just run some time, move the ball down. Here's a 3rd and 2, and they expect us to run the football. You take Stan White, you throw it to Frank Sanders. That's as good a chance as anything else. Key 1st down, and then watch the little play right here.
Reed got a great block on
Great block by Reed. Todd Bowen had a great day on the offensive line blocking for us on several plays. And there's the difference right there as the defense held on. Our fans, boy, I tell you, the fans were there every minute. And, of course, it was a tough loss for Georgia, I know, as they had wanted to go to a bowl game. The win might have helped them, but they've had some great days the last few years, and we've struggled, and this conference is tough.
Well, that's the coach. Remember the crowd.
You can't help but help to thank that crowd as they're there as strong as they are during that game. And it's so far, I mean, and we've got maybe a whole season ahead of us. But so far, it has been, you talk about the Auburn family and the Auburn spirit and the Auburn team. it's all been together, and it's been everybody's been helpful.
Back in just a minute with some closing comments. Comments now, and we will put this great win to rest. This was a textbook case of what the run can do, because Georgia actually gained more yardage than Auburn did, but those 300 yards rushing were vital to this win.
Well, I think any coach would tell you if you can have 300 yards passing or 300 yards rushing, you would like to be the type of team that could have 300 yard rushing, because the type of team that can rush for 300, when it gets to be short yardage or it gets to be goal line, or you've got to just hold on to the ball to stop the clock, to run the clock out, it's the running game that helps the defense out and helps you win ball games. So the excitement's passing, and that's always going to be a part of our future. But the running game, you can never cast away that running game. I believe that's I don't care where you are, that is still part of football. It's always been there and always will be there.
Now the big one.
Yeah, now the big one. You keep wondering, can it get bigger? But you really know it can. You throw the records out. You know, the 10-0 is we've said what we're excited about, what we've accomplished. But now you've got one where you throw the record book out, Alabama, and my players. I'm going to ask them to help me on this one. Help me prepare, because to me it's always been something I've had to look from the outside. And we've got to play a great game against the defending national champion, the defending conference champion, for the state championship and for the 11-0 season.
Auburn fans will never forget the 1989 game, the first ever game played at Auburn. This is the second one, and there have been some incidents in college football this year where emotions are high that have really been bad, and I know Auburn fans want to avoid that. And you have some plans for Tiger Walk.
Well, that's right. You know, everybody that I've talked to that's associated with Auburn thinks the '89 game is one of the greatest experiences they had at Auburn Stadium. They never forget it. Their children never forget it. And the Tiger Walk is a major part of that experience, but we have got to really think about how we're going to conduct ourselves, because the Tiger Walk is only for Tiger people. If someone got hurt, it would just be one of us. And we saw what happened at Wisconsin. We have got to really do some thinking about how we handle ourselves, because one child, whether it be mine or yours, to fall down and have problems, it may jeopardize the Tiger Walk forever. And we really need to do some thinking. We're going to come out with some things, I think, from the university to help each other. We're going to communicate that to our fans, and I hope we will all get together and have the most beautiful Tiger Walk we've ever had, but we'll all be careful in how we conduct ourselves.
It will really be just a marvelous occasion. I'm so sorry we don't have television, but that's the way it is. Alabama has shown some improvement. 20 seconds on Alabama if you got it, Coach.
Oh, they're just, I mean, they're going to come here with the best defense that we played all year, the most explosive player maybe in the country in David Palmer, a quarterback that's now healthy, and he has led them to no defeats, never been defeated, I don't think, Jay Barker, in 20 or 21 games. A great football team.
Really will be a great day, and we'll have the replay for you on Sunday. Thank you. See you next week.
Coach Bowden's apparel provided by The Locker Room. Georgia football with Coach Ray Goff and co-host Lauren Smith. Brought to you by Trust Company Bank. Does your bank suit you to a T? Coca-Cola Classic. Always a good call. Always Coca-Cola. Delta Airlines, the official airline of the University of Georgia Bulldogs. Golden Flake Snack Foods, the crispiest chip in the South. Osmos pressure-treated pine, only from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. Likes Hot Dogs. One bite, and you'll know why they say, when it's likes, it's gone. Your local Toyota dealer. I love what you do for me, Toyota. And by Georgia Sports Video, the makers of the national award-winning video series and the creators of the official Centennial Video.
In the final home game of the season, Auburn a winner over Georgia, 42-28, but the Bulldogs really fought hard. How frustrating is it, Coach, to fight hard, as your team did, and not come up with victory?
Well, I think it's even more frustrating, Lauren, when you lose and you don't play very hard. But we had some opportunities in the game. We have an interception return for a touchdown. We have an interception in the end zone. We have a turnover on the 20. So we had some opportunities, but Auburn's a good football team, and they took advantage of the opportunities they had, and they made big plays when they had to.
Well, Auburn is a very physical football team. That was obvious. Compare Auburn to the teams on the Georgia schedule to date. How good are they?
Well, anytime you lose, everybody's a good football team, and obviously Auburn's a good team. No one else has beaten them this year. Whether or not they'll go through the season undefeated, only time will tell. But Coach Bowden and his staff have done a good job, and you've got to give them a lot of credit.
There's a lot of big plays to show you, those plays coming up. But first, we get this message from from Dr. Norman Hers of the University of Georgia. At the half, it was 21-7, but you'd had some bad breaks. What was the mood in the locker room at the half?
Well, our kids knew that we had made some mistakes. We turned the ball over on the 20-yard line, and they got an easy touchdown out of it. But, you know, we felt like we still had a chance. And at this time, let's go and let's look at the first half highlights.
It was a great afternoon for football, packed house. When the students finally got there, everybody's in good spirits. They won the toss, and you started the game, but then didn't do much. They came out throwing. Did that surprise you?
Well, you know, they're a very balanced football team, Lawrence, so you knew they were going to throw and run, and they did a very good job of both all day. I think, you know, we never really stopped them defensively the whole day. They pretty much had their way with us. They hit the fullback on the waggle, which they hit him 2 or 3 times in the game and really hurt us in a crucial third down situation. Poor tackling, just poor tackling. There's no excuse for that. You know, we got an opportunity to stop them at the line of scrimmage, and we don't. They take the lead 7-0. It seems like that's kind of been the way the whole year has gone. We've had our backs to the wall, and offensively we've had to come out and score a lot of points. And this drive is probably as good a drive as we've had all year. We start on the 4-yard line, and we take it and go 96 yards, which was really an outstanding drive. And at that point in time, after this was over, our players knew we could move the football, but we were going to have to mix it up. And then as the game went on, we had to get into an all-throw situation because of the score, which made it very difficult. Terrell ran well. Frank Harvey made a couple of nice runs. Here comes Terrell again, breaks out, and makes a real nice run for about 30, 35 yards. And they run him out of bounds on about the 10-yard line. And we got first down on the 10. Eric goes back, and he hits Bryce Hunter. Bryce makes the guy miss him, gets the ball down the 3-yard line, and we have an opportunity to get a first down, which we do here. Bill Montgomery picks up the first down on 3rd and 1 and enables us to get a first.
Auburn in there tight on the line. They're in a 7-3 again. And Terrell Davis, touchdown!
And after the first down, Terrell Davis makes a nice run up the middle for the touchdown. Here's a replay of it. Our offensive line did a nice job. And we got to make sure we get the ball in the end zone a little better. And got to fight and scratch to get in and score 7-7. And, you know, that's... you know, we were playing pretty good, except, again, defensively, we just, it was our inability to stop them on crucial third down situations. And we had a lot of them in the game, and we were unable to hold them. Tailback runs it up in on isolation or a little draw. And at the end of the first quarter at 7-7, we tell our players to be ready for a fake punt, and we just don't execute it. And don't do a very good job, but fortunately it doesn't hurt us. We wind up holding them on this drive anyway, but as opposed to us having the football about the 42-yard line, we get it down further in the line of scrimmage, or down around the 20, I believe it was, which is a big difference. We get a sack here. I believe it's Mitch Davis, and Philip Daniels is back there, and Mitch played his last game in Sanford Stadium along with a lot of our seniors. They'll hit a little counter. It's you know, they're just blocking us, and we're not doing a very good job. And hit the little quick out to the receiver, and we got to come up and make those plays. A toss sweep. Philip Daniels is over there, and I believe Matt Storm's in on it. Can't tell who it's 3rd and 2, and Bostic makes a big run, 3rd and 2, and we got to stop them, and we don't. Instead of just allowing the first down, they hit a big play for a touchdown. Now we're down 14-7. We get the football back, and we got it about midfield, about the 40-yard line, and we ran a reverse that obviously didn't work, and it was a big fumble on it. We were able to recover it, and then the very next play, we fumble it back to them, and they get the ball at the 22-yard line. It's 14-7. We stop them on 2nd down. Greg Trimble makes a nice play, knocks him out of bounds on about the 3, and then they run a tall sweep to the left, and we just, you know, they get outside of us, and we've got some people chasing him, but unfortunately he gets in the end zone, and they're up 21-7. And, you know, now our backs are really to the wall. Eric comes back, hits Jeff Thomas. Jeff makes a nice move, picks up about 8 or 9 yards. Bill Montgomery picks up the first down. It's now 1st and 10 on about the 32. So we moved the football from time to time in the game. There were some critical plays. Bryce Hunter makes a nice catch over the middle, get the ball to midfield. Some critical plays and some turnovers we had offensively that obviously hurt us, but still our inability to stop them was probably the biggest difference in the football game because we never stopped them offensively at all. Eric comes back third down and almost picked off out in the flats, and fortunately it wasn't. We punted them down deep in their own territory, and they come out and make a couple of first downs right before the half. Almost get points. I forgot. They drive it down, and fortunately we stop them down at the other end to keep them from getting more points before the half. Stan White, their quarterback, the fifth-year senior, has come back and had a very good year for them, and Ralph Thompson picks the football off to stop the drive before half, and we go out at half down 21-7. The University.
In the second half, a batted ball was caught. Georgia about to score. They return it for a touchdown. You come right back and score. How big was Hassan Graham's touchdown pass?
Well, it was a big play in the game. There's no doubt about it, Lauren, because it gave us an opportunity to get right back in it after a big disappointment. So it was a big play for us, and Hassan made an outstanding run. So at this time, let's look at the highlights in the second half.
Well, you were down 2 touchdowns at the half, but coming out of the locker room, I felt that your team had confidence and took the field with a good upbeat mood.
Well, we did, Lauren, but again, the big thing in the game is right here, third down plays. We just never stopped them all day. Of course, we stopped them on this drive, and we wind up getting the football back, but it was our inability to shut them down in third down situations, and that was a big difference in the football game. And their fullback, our defense did a nice job there. And 4th and 2 and big play in the game, we stop them. Now, Carlo Butler misses him in the backfield, and Charlie Clements and Will Muschamp come up and make the play, and we get the football back, and Eric comes out, hits Brian Bohannon, and Brian does a nice job of picking up 7 or 8 yards. Our offensive line did a good job on this drive protecting. Jeffrey Thomas makes a nice catch over the middle. They get a pass interference. Again, Eric comes back, hits Hassan Graham on the sidelines. Hassan had his best game.
10 catches. Good day.
Really did a nice job. Biggest play in the game. It was a tip ball, and they come up with a big play, and we got to dive for him here. We got to make. Frank Harvey comes back and tries to catch him, and their guy does a great job of intercepting the ball and getting the ball in the end zone. And, I said earlier, it's a 10 to 14-point swing because of the interception.
24. Shotgun. Zaire looking, and fires right down the middle of Graham, complete on their 45 to the 40, the 35, the 30, the 25, the 20, going down the sideline. Touchdown!
Well, it certainly was nice to answer their score and their big break with a touchdown, and a terrific job on Hassan's part.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And I think this is, what makes you feel good, if there is any good feelings out of it. But our football team was down 28-7. And they came back, rallied back, and gave ourselves a chance to be in the game and an opportunity to get back in it. And Hassan did a great job. As I said, it was his best game at Georgia this year and over the last 2 years, and showed a lot of speed. And then our defense goes back on the field, and 3rd and 8 again, big third down, and we don't stop them. They pick up the first down by a yard. And again, that was the big difference in the game. Derek Smith does a nice job on a little shuttle pass, stops them in the backfield, and we make a nice play there. Here comes our tailback, Bostic. It was a 3rd down play again, and we don't stop him. And they get the ball down to our 20-yard line, and we're fighting, trying to get back in it, and we just can't seem to slow them down. Mitch Davis and Carlo Butler and Derek Smith make the play on the quarterback in the backfield, and they throw the little fade route, which is a tough play in college football, and man coverage on the goal line. And, they make the play, and they go up 35-14. And at this point, our offense really did some nice things. Eric comes in, and we hit, I believe it's Shannon Mitchell over the middle. Shannon makes a nice catch for about 4 or 5 yards.
2 tight ends and an eye. Zaire looking. There's a man wide open in the corner. Touchdown! He hit Bryce Hunter in the left corner. He beat it.
A nice route by Bryce Hunter, and Eric did a nice job of laying it up for him. And now the football game's 35-21. So our offense has cut the lead. Now it's up to our defense to go out and stop them, which they did. We got the football back, and Shannon Mitchell makes a nice run on the shuttle pass. Shannon didn't practice since the Florida game. He had not been able to practice, which hurt him a little bit and hurt our chances of doing some things with him. Brian Bohannon makes probably as good a catch as you'll see. Pass interference, he concentrates on the football. He comes up with a big catch on the 9-yard line, first down on the 9. And big play for Auburn. Unfortunately for us, we get a pass interference, interception. But we're able to stop them. And we're still down 35-21. Chris McCraney hits his shoulder pad and goes over. And Chris has got a good knack of running back punch, and he does a great job, gets the ball back to midfield. But unfortunately, we get a push in the back, and we get a 10-yard penalty.
Down on the 8.5. Zaire takes the snap and rolls right and throws the ball in. Touchdown in the corner.
But we were able to take that drive, go down the field, get points, and we're within one touchdown now. It's 35-28. You can see a replay of it. Eric hits Brian Bohannon. Brian does a great job getting the ball in the end zone, and he's been a very reliable receiver for us for the last 4 years. And we attempt the onside kick. It hits him, and it bounces 5 yards back right to where their guys are. And, it's just one of those breaks, and instead of bouncing towards us, it goes towards them. And, now they get the football at the 50-yard line, and we've got to stop them. And again, it's a big third down play coming up, and they convert on 3rd and 3. We don't get a lot of pressure. They hit him in the flats, and we're not obviously playing very good pass defense there. And they pick up a big first down, then they toss it to Bostic, and he just runs right through us and scores a touchdown. Now they're up 42-28. And now we've got to score twice again with about 3 minutes to go in the game. And we went for it on 4th down and didn't make it. And we get the football, but we're unable to convert any points. And unfortunately, it was a disappointing loss to a good Auburn football team.
A pretty big day in my life.
Another open date coming up, Coach. Your team is still a little beat up. Shannon Mitchell had a tough time Saturday going full speed. Do you think you might get a little healthy for Tech with this open date?
Well, we hope so, Lauren. We were really a beat-up football team going into Auburn, and that's not an excuse for the outcome of the game. We were beat up, and Shannon was one that didn't practice for the last week and a half and really didn't put on pads till the Auburn game.
Georgia Tech is an improving football team. A winner over Wake Forest Saturday. How good is Georgia Tech?
I don't think there's any doubt that Georgia Tech has made improvement. Their record is now at 5-5. They won this past weekend against Wake Forest, and it'll be a good football game. What we've got to do is regroup and get our players ready to play the biggest game of the year.
That's it for this week. Thanks for joining us. Next week we have an open date show, and we have a special guest joining us, everybody's friend, Louis Grizzard. For Coach Ray Goff, we are signing off until next week. Look forward to seeing you then.
Inside Georgia Football. Brought to you by Trust Company Bank. Does your bank suit you to a T? Coca-Cola Classic. Always a good call. Always Coca-Cola. Delta Airlines. Delta and the Delta Connection fly to over 300 cities worldwide. Golden Flake Snack Foods, the crispiest chip in the South. Osmos pressure-treated pine, only from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. Likes Hot Dogs. One bite, and you'll know why they say, when it's likes, it's gone. Your local Toyota dealer. I love what you do for me, Toyota. And by Georgia Sports Video, the makers of the national award-winning video series and the creators of the official Centennial Video. Clothing provided by Kuppenheimer Men's Clothiers. And special thanks to these friends of Georgia football.
the month of June.
Auburn and Alabama both worked out this afternoon. Gene Stallings and Terry Bowden say they're doing their best to prevent their teams from peaking too early. The Crimson Tide will bring the second-best defense in the nation at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Bama is allowing only 10 points a game on average, but the Tigers are scoring 33 a game. SEC Defensive Player of the Week Lemansky Hall is primarily concerned with the Offensive Player of the Week in the conference, Auburn running back James Bostic.
I think he's the man. He's a tremendous tailback, and he got a lot of experience, so he's the threat for us. So I think we'll be ready for him. I feel real strongly that our best defensive game will come this weekend. You'll see the best. You'll be to see the Bama defense of old Saturday.
I think it's going to be a week of not too much sleep. I think it's going to be a game where you can go over and over in your mind every possible way that you can win this game.
There's a good chance the Crimson Tide could be working out in Montgomery Friday afternoon. Gene Stallings hasn't decided yet whether to practice in Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, or Auburn. He'd like to get a good look at Jordan-Hare Stadium since he's never been there before, but since the Tide is staying in Montgomery Friday night anyway, Stallings would like to avoid the extra bus ride on the eve of the big game.
And if I were going to guess, right now, I'd guess that we would probably work out somewhere in Montgomery. We'd go there, and that's where we'd spend the night. That's what I'd guess that I'll do. But I have the prerogative of changing my mind about that.
Tomorrow is Media Day in Auburn. Phil Snow will have the story at 6 and at 10. When the Troy State...
Director David Housel and his staff have been overrun with folks today. Wouldn't have been as bad, would have been even worse had Alabama not lost a game and taken a little of the national spotlight off the game, but there were plenty of state media at Auburn today. And what is new Auburn coach Terry Bowden's approach to the biggest game of his career? Here's the quote: "Exactly nothing different."
Whether that's right or wrong, it seems to be the strategy that I want to use, because it seems that it's helped us to be 10-0 by not getting involved with a lot of changing things or getting caught up in a lot of outside distractions. And they should be greater this week, and so if we can block them out as well as we blocked out some adverse distractions earlier in the season, I think it's been good. So far we've tried to keep our players and our coaches as much in the same groove and grind as we have the rest of the season.
But this is Alabama, and Bowden knows Auburn will face the best defensive team they've seen all year.
I mean, if you're looking for us to score a lot of points this week to outscore people, I don't think that's in the cards. And I wouldn't be, and I'm not going to say they're the same team they were last year. I saw them last year. They were even better last year athletically. But they still play defensively better than anybody we've played all year.
And containing the Alabama offense enough to win begins with number 2, David Palmer.
We're going to try to have a plan to slow him down. And how they use him, we don't know, but from what I have seen, he has been the one person that can change the outcome of a game. And on this field, he'll be the one person that probably stands out from either team.
You really just can't stop a guy like him, but you have to contain him. And I think the biggest thing to do is make sure when he does catch a pass, no yards after the catch. That's a big thing for him after he gets the ball, what he does after he catches it.
Bowden plans to take some pressure off his team by taking them out of town Friday night after the seniors take part in a late afternoon pep rally. Former Auburn player Eric Ramsey believes he played some part in the Tigers' success this season. Ramsey's attorney, Donald Watkins, says his client takes credit for helping to force change at Auburn, particularly the head coaching position. Former Auburn coach Pat Dye resigned over the controversy created by Ramsey's complaint to the NCAA that he received illegal benefits from an alumni and assistant coaches. Watkins says Ramsey will be pulling for Auburn this weekend. You may wonder what Pat Dye's been doing this football season. We visited with the former Auburn coach last week. He's looking after horses and cattle, doing a lot of speaking, restoring an old home on his farm near Reeltown, and enjoying the success Auburn has had this year, particularly proud of the seniors on Auburn's 10-0 team.
I'm so proud for Wayne Gandy and Anthony Redmond and Stan White and Reed McMillan and Tony Richardson and, all those guys that have been here and stood tall when times were tough. And you could see, I could see the hurt in their eyes. It wasn't their fault, the things that went on and the things that happened and the way the the media try to destroy them and me and the program and the thing. And to see them come back and prove that they are a special group has been a thrill to me. And I'm just thankful that Terry, you know, had the ability to come in here and not destroy, you know, the things that had been built over a period of time that were there in place. He just fit it all together and made it work, and he's just done a masterful job at it.
On our live Iron Bowl special Friday night, Pat Dye looks back at the first ever Alabama game at Auburn. We'll be live from two locations, Jordan-Hare Stadium and the Alabama team headquarters, Friday night at 7. Well, you have a brief period of good wildlife movement just after sunup tomorrow. Our WSA
Well, better take your earplugs. No doubt it's going to be the loudest game of the season at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Some people who were there back in '89 say their ears are still ringing. When it comes to the noise level and the factor it should play in the game, there's a little difference of opinion between Alabama coach Gene Stallings and Auburn coach Terry Bowden.
We need for the crowd to be a factor in this game. With there are over 85,000 people here and all but a few being Auburn fans, if they can make more noise than they've ever made 50% of the time, that is when Alabama's got the football, maybe we can affect their execution, their ability to communicate during the field. I don't think you can intimidate these young men. They've been in big stadiums before. What you want to do is affect their communication skills, the ability of the quarterback to speak loud enough to reach the tight end or to communicate with the wide receiver or everybody who has to work with no verbal communication at all. That sometimes causes just one or two plays a game to mess up. Those might be vital plays.
The game is to be settled between the players, you know, and when they're playing a game here or wherever, you'll never see me encouraging the crowd to holler, because I think that the players need to be able to hear. I think that needs to be a courtesy to both sides, really. I know people holler and yell and make a lot of racket. It just so happens I don't encourage it, because I think the game needs to be settled amongst the players.
Auburn and Alabama both spent about 2 hours on the practice field today for the second straight day the Tide worked out in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Gene Stallings says running back Sherman Williams is still not at full speed. On the Plains, the Tigers spent most of their time working on their offensive and defensive game plans. Last year, the key play of the Iron Bowl came early in the third quarter. Antonio Langham's interception return for a touchdown broke a scoreless tie. Both coaches might have had that play in mind when they were discussing the keys to this year's game.
Alabama thrives so much on other people making mistakes. So many games they've won the last 2 years by you just making a mistake and giving them a touchdown, giving them field position, make a mistake, and then they don't give you a chance to catch up. And so that causes you to be very, very concerned about whether you're going to try a risky play or try for a big play that might have a turnover, because they are so good at creating turnovers that once they get ahead of you, their defense does not allow you to catch up. Now, that doesn't mean that David Palmer's not going to score 80 yards the first play and put you behind, but as far as what they force other people to do, it almost forces this into a waiting game and to someone trying to get this game into the fourth quarter.
I think the key to most games is turnovers anyway. You know, you take the games that we've lost, you know, we turned the ball over 5 times and we were -5 in turnovers. You're not going to win very often if you do that. I think the kicking game is going to be awfully important in this particular game.
Well, whether you plan on listening to the game on radio or you've somehow managed to come up with those coveted tickets, you'll want to be with us Friday night at 7 for Iron Bowl 93, a 1-hour special covering everything you want to know about the big game. Bill Source. This is Jeff Shear live at Crimson Tide headquarters, the Holiday Inn East in Montgomery.
And I'm Phil Snow, live from Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn, site of tomorrow's 58th meeting between Auburn and Alabama.
Return to Auburn. This preview of tomorrow's game between the Auburn Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide is brought to you in part by Alpha Insurance, by W&J Propane, and by Glenn Smith Chevrolet GOG People.
Good evening. Here from Auburn tonight, we will get the very latest word from Coach Terry Bowden. We spoke to him just a few minutes ago. Pat Dye will reminisce on that first ever Auburn-Alabama game here at Jordan-Hare Stadium 4 years ago. We'll have we'll bring you up to date on what's happening here on campus on this exciting day, and we'll have some useful information in case you're coming to the game tomorrow. Let's go to Jeff in Montgomery.
Hi, Phil. When it is Bama time, we're going to check in with Crimson Tide head coach Gene Stallings. Alabama's in Montgomery. They worked out this afternoon at Crampton Bowl. Plus, we'll talk live with Alabama athletic director Hootie Ingram. We're going to take a game-by-game look back at the 1993 season for both Auburn and Alabama. And we're going to meet an Alabama assistant coach who's fighting a big battle off the football field. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you'll make plans to join us. Stay right here for Iron Bowl 93. Stick around.
Unbeaten Alabama has dominated Auburn for 3 quarters. Gardner Jett kicks what looks like a meaningless field goal. It's 16-3 Alabama with 9 minutes to play. Auburn's Bill Newton blocks the Alabama punt. David Langner scores. It's 16-10 Alabama with 5 minutes to play. With less than 2 minutes left, Bill Newton, rushing from the inside, again blocks the punt. David Langner again returns it for a touchdown. Jett kicks the all-important extra point, and 17-16 becomes an eternal part of Auburn folklore.
Confused about who's an energy...
This may be the toughest ticket of all time for an Auburn-Alabama game. Tim Jackson, the Auburn ticket manager, has joined us live. Now, before I forget it, Tim, let me give you those tickets back. Okay. We've heard the stories, $1,200, $1,500 for a good pair. What have you heard?
Well, you know, I really don't know. I know we sold the tickets from April to September for $140 for the season ticket, and we've had different people call, say different things. Walking over here, somebody wanted to sell me 2 tickets for $500. I said, no.
They didn't know you were the ticket manager.
No, I said, no, I don't think I need them. But I've heard from $500 to $1,000 a ticket. And you know, there are some unusual circumstances this year that have, you know, led to that. And I think, you know, the Auburn team is 10-0 with a new coach. Alabama has a great team. You know, they were the national champions last year, coming in here the 2nd time ever. And then you put all that stuff together and you got no TV.
No TV, I think, is the biggest factor.
No TV is the key, and it's something that everybody wants to see.
A lot of people are going to be here tomorrow just to be around. I'm sure some of them are going to want tickets. What is your advice for someone coming without a ticket?
Well, my advice would be to bring a real good radio. I don't expect to see a lot of tickets tomorrow. You know, usually any game you go to, you see some tickets on the street, but just last week at the Georgia game, I saw 2 tickets outside the gate the whole time. Yeah. And so I think the no TV thing, and, you know, when people come, they want to see the game. So I would say it would be hard.
Thank you for coming by, Tim. And I know you're glad that this is over, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes, this is a tough ticket here, but it's also a tough ticket in Tuscaloosa. Let's go to Montgomery with Jeff.
Phil, this game is so big, it's sold out not 1, but 2 stadiums. Get ready to see the biggest television that I've ever seen. This baby is 20 feet tall, 28 feet wide, and as you can see, they spent the whole day installing this bad boy, this Jumbotron, they call it at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And when tickets went on sale 2 weeks ago, they sold out in 4 hours, all 45,000 seats, and now those $10 tickets are being scalped, if you can believe it, for $75. Joining us now is Alabama Athletic Director Hootie Ingram. And Coach, when this decision was made to do the closed-circuit telecast, I remember reading a quote from you saying, we hope to sell 9,000 or 10,000 tickets so we can break even. Obviously, your expectations have been exceeded a little bit, have they not?
Well, we really were shocked that it sold that fast and that many seats, but I just said the 12,000 to 15,000 area was our break-even period, and but we were glad to do it for the people and let more people, both Auburn and Alabama fans, have opportunity to see the game.
And what's the reading that you've gotten from your people? Obviously, they checked it out today. How did that go?
Well, I left before they had it completely checked out, but they were going to run some tapes on it and so forth, and we don't anticipate any problems. We had some people down in Gainesville that saw the Auburn-Florida game at Gainesville. We sent a group of people down there, and they were all very impressed with it, and it was a very effective show.
I can't let you get away without your prediction. Tell me why you think Alabama is going to win this game tomorrow.
Well, this kind of game you always look forward to. And I know from a coaching standpoint, coaches don't have to worry about either team playing in games like this. You know, a lot of times during the year, you have a game or two where you're afraid your team's not going to be up. But in a game like this, both teams get up, and let's let the best team win.
Hootie Ingram, I know your presence is requested at several functions tonight. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. We'll let you go.
Sure.
We're going to be back with Phil Snow at Jordan-Hare Stadium after this Iron Bowl memory. Don't go anywhere.
In the last 2 or 3 days, for the first time in my life, it's dawned on me that it's very important to all of them because they are a part of it. And it's very important to me because they're looking to me to see that it gets done.
Bear Bryant's first opportunity to become the all-time winningest coach in major college football comes against his greatest rival. Alabama rallies to 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, the first on a Walter Lewis bomb. And the put-away score by Lenny Patrick gives Alabama a 28-17 victory and Bear Bryant's record-breaking 315th win.
Anytime you get 85,000 people in a place like this, and with the emotional pitch that will be present here tomorrow, there are always security concerns. Bob Howell has joined us on set here, and you've been working on that today, sir.
It's a matter of fact, I spent quite a bit of time today with the police chief here for Auburn University, and when you say a lot of people getting into an emotional situation, I can assure you that Auburn University has a plan. It's something that they have dealt with on several occasions as far as making sure they have a contingency, and they're very serious about that. And the man who knows all about it is Police Chief Jack Walton.
If anybody wants to make sure that they go to jail, they can get on the field after the game.
The recent tragedy at the University of Wisconsin is a reminder of what can happen when a jubilant crowd turns into an out-of-control mob. Chief Walton says there have been some close calls at Jordan-Hare in the past when crowd control was a problem, most notably after the 1986 Georgia game. That's when the university decided to create a natural barrier between the fans and the field. Closest to the stands, there's a 4-foot-tall hedge of holly bushes with their prickly leaves. But then there's the real deterrent.
See if I can get you a sample here.
Oh,
yeah, won't have
look
to cut. You see those? Woo. Those can be pretty painful in there. When you keep them cut back, they're just thick with those.
The university police operate a command center underneath the stands. Fans who get out of line wind up here in the stadium jail. Women are held in a cell in the back of the bus. The men go here.
Then when we get 12, we load them up in the wagon and take them on over to the Lee County Jail.
So you're serious about this?
Oh, yes.
Chief Walton has this advice for fans at the game.
Come to the game, have a good time, but just keep everything in perspective. We have to draw the line on certain things because we've done this a long time and we know what we're doing, and what we do is for their protection and their enjoyment. Just don't infringe on the rights and privileges of your neighbor. Everything will be okay.
One of the things that's going to be a little different tomorrow, by the way, Phil, is on the Tiger Walk. They're going to put barricades up, and one of the things that Chief Walton talked about is voluntary compliance as far as people simply not pushing up to the barricade. A lot of kids are on Tiger Walk and want to get a chance to get up close and see the players. And so they're asking everybody that comes over for the Tiger Walk, please stay behind the barricades and just stay cool.
Vic backed up against one of those hedges, and I thought we were going to have to take him to the Lee County Hospital.
And that's one of the mild ones. That's the holly bush. He didn't get into bad stuff.
It used to be the Lee County. I don't know what it is now. If you're coming to the game tomorrow, we have a suggestion or two as to how you should get to the stadium. There are 3 interchanges on I-85 that you might consider. If you're coming from Montgomery, The first one you will encounter is the Wire Road interchange. You travel down Wire Road to the stadium that way. Now, the more traditional way to get there is the first Auburn exit. I believe that's exit number 51. You can go in that way. If you're coming from Georgia or from the east, you might consider the exit 57. That is the airport exit, which will take you up to Glen Avenue, which will take you into the city. No matter what route you take tomorrow, be sure to be careful. There will be several streets that are one-way for this one day only to expedite traffic, so just watch where you're going. Now, let's go to Jeff in Montgomery.
Thank you, Phil. You know, I've been watching Rich Thomas's weather forecasts all week, and I think the weather is going to be a lot nicer for this game than it has been in past Iron Bowls.
No doubt about it. I can remember there had been some games in the 80s. One comes to mind. Do you remember 1983? This was at Legion Field in Birmingham. There was a torrential downpour in the fourth quarter. It got dark as night, and all of a sudden, they got word in the PA booth that there was a tornado warning for Jefferson County. And, of course, the PA announcer, which is our own Carl Stevens, announced that there's now a tornado warning, and tornadoes had been sighted, but what are you going to do? You can't evacuate that many people. And there's been some extremely cold Iron Bowl games. Well, I'm glad to say this one falls happily in between those two extremes. We've got some nice weather, a few showers out there tonight. They're going to clear the area by later on this evening, and I think they'll be clearing by the time the game starts. Let's take a look at that forecast. Sunny, breezy, and cool at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The winds could be a factor for the kickers, 12 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures running 54 to 59, so the wind chill factors will be in the 40s, perhaps even the upper 30s. So wear something warm for that game in Auburn. And if you're going to be watching the game, if you're going to be at Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa, same forecast, the winds north at 10 to 15, the temperature a little bit cooler, 50 to 54 for that one, but again, sunny, breezy, and cool, no weather problems. And I think a lot of football fans are going to be happy to see that kind of weather because we don't have any rain to deal with, and we certainly don't have any other extremes to deal with, so a pretty good forecast for Iron Bowl 93.
Rich, we're going to hold you to that. Nice handoff. We've been sharing a microphone. We've worked on our handoffs, and I think we've got it down. We're just taking it one handoff at a time. We're going to take a quick timeout, and we'll come back with Iron Bowl 93 and run down the 1993 seasons for Auburn and Alabama. So stay where you are.
Auburn begins a final drive. Randy Campbell saves it with a third down completion. Jeremiah Castile appears to have stopped the drive, but is called for pass interference. Bo Jackson goes over the top, and the 9-game losing streak comes to an end. Legion Field becomes a wild scene.
Welcome back to the big show. Auburn is 10-0, of course. Alabama, 8 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. Here's Jerome Hand with a game-by-game rundown of the 93 season.
The Auburn Tigers cranked up the Terry Bowden era on the Plains with a Thursday night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Auburn hammered Ole Miss 16-12. Tailback James Bostic led the Tiger attack with 138 yards and a touchdown, earning Player of the Week honors in the Southeastern Conference. 2 days later in Birmingham, the Alabama Crimson Tide began defense of its national championship with a convincing 31-17 victory against Tulane. In week 2, Crimson Tide wide receiver David Palmer set a school record for receiving yards in a single game by hauling in 8 passes for 217 yards. Behind the Deuces' performance, Bama moved to 2-0 on the season by sinking Vanderbilt 17-6. Later that evening at Jordan-Hare Stadium, Terry Bowden's Tigers trounced his former team, Samford, 35-7. Alabama's Antonio Langham tied the Crimson Tide career interception record on September 18th at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and he did it in style. Langham returned this one all the way for a touchdown, and the Crimson Tide cruised past the Arkansas Razorbacks 43-3. After the Crimson Tide destroyed Arkansas here at Bryant-Denny Stadium, the Auburn Tigers played their first road game of the Terry Bowden era down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was a record-breaking game for Stan White. The Auburn quarterback passed Pat Sullivan as the Tigers' all-time passing leader. His 20 of 28 performance for 282 yards also earned him Player of the Week honors. Auburn handled LSU 34-10. The Tigers had to come from behind the next week to drop Southern Mississippi 35-24. That pushed Auburn's record to 4-0. Alabama had no trouble with Louisiana Tech up in Birmingham. The Tide blew out the Bulldogs 56-3. The Crimson Tide ventured to Columbia, South Carolina in week 5 of the season to battle the Gamecocks. Sherman Williams scored 2 touchdowns and rushed for more than 100 yards for the 5th straight week to tie a school record. Bama beat South Carolina 17-6. That same night in Nashville, Auburn's defense made the difference against Vanderbilt. Brian Robinson scored on an interception return, and the Tigers came through with a big goal line stand in the second half as they slipped past the Commodores 14-10. Another defensive player, Chris Schelling, picked up SEC Player of the Week honors the next week against Mississippi State as he intercepted a pass and recovered a fumble. The Tigers blew past the Bulldogs 31-17. After a week off, the Crimson Tide's 28-game winning streak came to an end on the 3rd Saturday of October. Tennessee stopped the streak, but the Volunteers couldn't win the game. A last-second flurry by Bama and a nifty 2-point conversion by David Palmer left Tennessee and Alabama tied at 17. That same day, Auburn pulled off its biggest upset of the season. The Tigers came from behind in the second half to knock off the highly ranked Florida Gators 38-35 in one of the most exciting games ever at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Stan White led Auburn with 267 yards passing, which earned him Player of the Week honors in the SEC. The Tigers took the next weekend off, while Alabama ventured to Oxford, Mississippi to battle Ole Miss. The Rebels knocked Jay Barker out of the game in the second quarter, but David Palmer was able to rally the Tide playing quarterback, and the Crimson Tide escaped Ole Miss with a 19-14 victory. A week later, Bama destroyed Southern Miss 40-0 to move to 7-0-1 on the season. Auburn brushed away the Snowflakes and the Arkansas Razorbacks on a cold Saturday in Fayetteville. Brian Robinson's interception return for a touchdown in the third quarter gave the Tigers a lead they would not relinquish on their way to a 31-21 win over the Hogs. The Tigers crushed New Mexico State 55-14 for homecoming to move to 9-0 on the season. Meanwhile, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama suffered its first loss in more than 2 years. The LSU Bengal Tigers took advantage of 5 Crimson Tide turnovers to shock Bama 17-13. Jay Barker returned to action the next week, and the Tide rebounded by outscoring Mississippi State 36-25. The Deuce caught 1 touchdown pass and broke Alabama's single-season record for receiving yards, but the game's big play came from the special teams. The Tide blocked a field goal, and Lemansky Hall raced 60 yards for a touchdown. Hall also added 2 interceptions to pick up Defensive Player of the Week honors. The win improved Bama's record to 8-1-1 on the season. The Tigers outscored Georgia 42-28 in Athens. James Bostic was the SEC's Offensive Player of the Week. Bostic scored on 2 long runs and broke the 1,000-yard rushing plateau. The victory improved the Tigers' record to a perfect 10-0 under first-year head coach Terry Bowden. This is Jerome Hand reporting for the Iron Bowl return to Auburn.
Thank you, Jerome. You know, the names Terry Bowden and Gene Stallings, they're household names in our state. But what about the assistant coaches for Auburn and Alabama? We see them on the sidelines, maybe up in the press box, but other than that, we never really hear their stories. For the Crimson Tide, there's one assistant coach who has a very special story to tell. When Gene Stallings became Alabama's head football coach in January of 1990, one of the first things he did was hire Ellis Johnson to coach Bama's outside linebackers. With Johnson in the press box helping Bill Oliver coach the Tide defense, Alabama stifled Miami in the Sugar Bowl to win the national championship. 8 months after that magical night in New Orleans, Ellis Johnson experienced something football coaches rarely confess to feeling: fear. In August, a routine X-ray revealed a lump in his chest, a form of cancer called Hodgkin's disease.
When they first told me what it was, but before they defined it in particular, it's kind of a thing of fear because you don't know. Once they told me exactly what I had, and I'd conferred with some of my friends who have since gone into the medical profession and pretty well knew what I was dealing with, it was almost a feeling of comfort because medically they have come so far with it. And, of course, the other things that helped out were when they did the series of tests to find out had it spread and found out that it had not. That's obviously a good prognosis there and a good sign. So your chances for curing, or if you will, having it in total remission are very great.
The doctor told Ellis Johnson the chances his cancer will go into total remission are 90%, but that doesn't make the monthly chemotherapy treatments any easier.
There are 2 or 3 days there when I'm actually getting the treatments where I can't function well enough to contribute actually work-wise as much as I need to. And then there's probably about 5 or 6 days after that where I'm not up to par. Have to probably take off a little early and get out of the office in the evenings and catch up a little bit on the rest.
First of all, I think he's gone above and beyond, and being at nearly all of our practices and all of our meetings and doing everything that he possibly can. I appreciate Ellis for that. I know he doesn't feel good all the time, and yet when I ask him how he's feeling, he always says he's feeling fine.
I guess sometimes I'm telling him a little bit of a feel, but to be honest with you, I haven't felt that bad, and I really feel very lucky because of that.
It's the eve of the biggest game of the season, the Iron Bowl, but Ellis Johnson has not been able to focus his full attention on getting ready to play Auburn. 3 days this week, he's had to go back and forth from Tuscaloosa to Birmingham for chemotherapy. If everything continues to go well, he'll undergo radiation treatment in February to knock out whatever cancerous tissue remains. Then it's checkups every 6 months for several years to make sure the cancer doesn't return.
The attitude I've drawn is there's certain things you can control and certain things you can't. And all you can do is do what you've been told to do, take the medicine, take the advice, and take the instructions, and do what you're supposed to do, and keep a positive attitude that things are going to turn out right, because there's nothing you can do to stop them from going the other direction. And that's basically what you learn in athletics. If you work as hard as you can and do what you're supposed to do and prepare as best you can, and you take the results, whatever happens.
It takes a great amount of courage to be able to do what he's doing under tough conditions, and I appreciate him for it.
For the first time in my life, something has happened which I can't control. And I've had to develop patience and understanding about that and do whatever the medical advice is and proceed from there and just let it fall where it may.
Whether you pull for Auburn or for Alabama, but you can't help but root for Ellis Johnson. I really admire that attitude. When we come back, we'll meet the man responsible for bringing the Iron Bowl to Auburn in the first place, the one and only Pat Dye. That's next. Stick around.
Reggie Ware powers in for the touchdown. Auburn takes a 23-22 lead with a minute to play. Alabama's Mike Shula waits and waits. Greg Richardson comes open and somehow gets to the sideline to stop the clock with just 6 seconds to go. Van Tiffen boots a 52-yard field goal with no time remaining. Alabama wins 25-23 in one of the best college games of all time.
Our Iron Bowl 93, we are live from Jordan-Hare Stadium in Auburn. This game will be played here tomorrow, probably more than any other reason because of the iron will of Pat Dye. He was very instrumental in getting that 1989 game, known as the first ever, here to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Last week, we spent a morning with Coach Pat Dye, and we reminisced about that 89 game and some other things.
That's the first thing Coach Bryant said to me when I talked to him after I got to Auburn. He said, "Well, I guess you'll want to move." I said, "You're right." And he said, "Well, you ain't gonna move it for the next 4 years," because we had a contract that actually went through 86, 87.
I think it was 87, yeah. Pat Dye played a key role in bringing the game to Auburn. The success of the early 80s led to the expansion that made Jordan-Hare Stadium the largest in the state. When the Birmingham contract ended in 1987, the two schools agreed that Auburn could bring their game to their stadium. You may wonder why Auburn's home game in 1991 was played in Birmingham. In his book, In the Arena, Dye says that was a compromise for the city of Birmingham. The Tiger Walk became a tradition for Auburn players during the Dye era. 2 hours before game time, the team leaves Sewell Hall, walks down the street by the baseball stadium to their dressing room in the south end zone. There was never, and may never be another, Tiger Walk like the one that day, December 2nd, 1989.
My biggest concern when we got to the dressing room after going through the Tiger Walk was what in the world would I do to try to
whole lot of motion to kickoff and for another 2 hours during the course of the contest. But it really wasn't a problem. It was, kids were ready to play, and we had a good football team, and the rest of it took care of itself.
Once the game started, quarterback Reggie Slack electrified the home crowd with a long pass to the speedy Alexander Wright. Moments later, James Joseph powered in for the first touchdown.
You know, we probably wouldn't have called that play, but we scripted the first 10 or 12 plays that day. And that particular call, I think, came on 3rd and 5.
Right.
Where you normally wouldn't throw a long pass, you just try to make a first down. But we went ahead and threw it, and Reggie and Alexander made the play.
After Alabama rallied to take a 10-7 lead at the half, Auburn exploded for 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals to lead 27-10. Auburn fans will always remember Vic's shot of you dancing down the sidelines when Alexander Wright went in and out of bounds and caught that pass. Remember that?
Well, it was actually pass interference on the play, because when the defensive back hit him, the ball was in the air, and of course Alexander had enough ability to come back in bounds and make the play, and it was a great play and a big play in the ball game.
Darrell Lectron Williams, who battled knee injuries his entire Auburn career, scored his most memorable touchdown.
It's just a shame that his physical, that he didn't get a chance to display the kind of physical ability he had as a junior in high school, because he'd have been truly a great college back.
Gary Hollingsworth brought Alabama back with a touchdown and a field goal to trail by only 7 late in the game. An onside kick failed, and Auburn's Win Lyle kicked his 3rd field goal of the day to ice the game. 30-20 was the final score.
The game was secondary to me is to the event. The fact that Alabama was coming to Auburn to play. And, of course, us winning the football game and playing well that day was kind of icing on the cake.
And what if Pat died? Well, these days he's a gentleman farmer overseeing horses and cattle on his farm just outside Reeltown. Pat and Sue are building their dream home, actually restoring an old antebellum home they had moved to the farm.
One of these days, maybe we get it finished.
Well,
it's fun watching it go up. It's fun watching them tie the old house into the new.
You like those 12-foot ceilings, I guess, huh?
Well, actually, they're 14 foot.
Oh, okay. Does that count what you were raised in?
Wasn't quite that big. This old home here is a little nicer than the one that I was raised in. I think it'll be nice when we get through with it.
And Vic says there are some nice bass in that lake. Pat Dye and Sue will be here, of course, for the game tomorrow. In our conversation with him, he told me one of the great thrills of his life has been watching this team this year, and particularly enjoying the seniors have some success after the things they've been through. We'll return in just a minute with our Iron Bowl 93 with the up-to-date word from the 2 head coaches.
The game comes to be known as the first ever. Alabama travels to the Auburn campus for the first time. 65,000 Shakers leave a pale blue and orange haze over Jordan-Hare Stadium. Reggie Slack sets the tone with a long pass to Alexander Wright. Auburn scores moments later. Unbeaten Alabama battles back to a 10-7 lead before Auburn puts together a 20-point second-half burst and rolls to a 30-20 victory in the first ever at Jordan-Hare.
You know, in the coaching business, I spend about as much time on the telephone as I do on the football field. But with the LDDS Alumni Savers Program, I know I'm saving money, and I'm helping Auburn with every call that I make.
Support Auburn and save money, whether it's for travel, business, or at home, with LDDS, the official long-distance carrier of the Auburn Alumni Association.
And another thing to remember, every single call helps Auburn, even if the person on the other end doesn't exactly wear our colors.
For information, call 1-800-350-AUAU.
Mom!
What, sweetie?
What would you do if a giant octopus crawled out of the swimming pool and ate the whole house?
I guess I'd call Alpha. They insure our house.
What if he ate our car?
I'd call Alpha.
What if he ate Dad?
I'd call Alpha. Alpha handles all of our insurance.
What if he ate me?
He'd get indigestion.
Call Alpha.
Ever wonder why so many bankers are so jolly this time of year? Why should they get a cut from your holiday fun? This season, get a Max Frugal card. Your choice of Visa or MasterCard with a super low interest rate without the annual fee. And right now, get some extra spending money. 2% cash back when you pay off your old high-interest card with a new Max Frugal card. Have the last laugh. With a Frugal card from Max Federal Credit Union. It's the best Christmas card you'll ever get.
Set your sights on a real sale at Capital Chevrolet Geo. Hundreds of Capital customers have already seen the savings, and so can you. Get real savings on 94 S10s and full-size trucks. Get a $1,000 rebate on Luminous and Caprices. And get real value on the 94 Prism Smart Lease. Our loyal customers prove that you can't beat our prices. So hurry to Capital Chevrolet Geo and set your sights on a real sale.
Of course, one of the fun things about Iron Bowl week is wearing your colors. I know around Channel 12 today it was quite a sight with everybody with their red and their orange and blue on, and you've been looking into that matter, haven't you, Bill?
Yes, I have, and you notice I took the middle of the road.
Well,
stayed
pure
with
white.
That's right.
You got it.
Now, I saw a lot of orange and blue tonight, folks. Let me tell you, I was at the pep rally for the 5 o'clock, but last night had the opportunity to see the excitement in Montgomery over this game. Right now, we'll take a look at the Eastdale Mall. This was Tiger Pride and Bama Fever. And what you can tell by the amount of people, as well as the amount of assortment of memorabilia, everything for the little kids, future Auburn Tigers, future Auburn cheerleaders. And you might be asking, of all that is available at these stores, what is selling best? Well, it seems, when I was there, making fun of the other team is really what's going better than anything else. The shirts that say anything else about your opposer. And one thing's for sure, Bama Fever, Tiger Pride, which is, of course, the same company in Montgomery's Eastdale Mall, as well as the Montgomery Mall, is doing very well. And, Phil, I'm going to tell you right now, the most interesting ones I saw, now the pro-Alabama one, having a bad hair day with a shaved tiger, and hair spelled H-A-R-E. And then the other one that I saw supporting Auburn, what you might not be able to see, and they had the TV blocked out, could hurt you. And so those were some of the more creative.
And some we can't mention.
Some we can't mention, exactly.
You're a newcomer to this. What do you think?
Unbelievable. I mean, I can't get over the excitement that is here even the day before. And it began as early as Tuesday. And I've never seen a more intense rivalry, I can promise you that. And this is just absolutely incredible. There was probably close to 10,000 people at the pep rally just a few hours ago, and it was just phenomenal, phenomenal.
Steve Powell is our What's Happening man around here today. He's somewhere outside. Let's see if we can find him and check in with Steve.
Well, Phil, actually what's happening now is it's quiet, relatively speaking, I guess you could say. I don't know, maybe it's just quiet because we're all still deaf from that pep rally that Bill spoke of just a minute ago. Probably a lot of people are inside the Coliseum right now checking out the basketball team, which is having its opening game tonight, an exhibition game actually against Spirit Express. The rest of them are in the sea of RVs. You can see over my right shoulder. They're resting up after what was a very busy afternoon. What did they do, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. They had a parade, for one thing, about 4 o'clock this afternoon. The parade got underway. Fraternities and sororities getting floats together. It's just like homecoming, except maybe twice as much as homecoming, as some of the folks told us earlier. And then, of course, the big pep rally, as they said, about 10,000 people or so on about 2 acres of land, if you can imagine that. The team was there, and of course, Coach Terry Bowden was there. See, I'm still excited about that. Firing up the fans, asking tomorrow for lots and lots of noise. And then finally, after the pep rally was over, everybody got to take in a great display of fireworks, and that was something else to see. So lots of stuff going on this afternoon, and believe me, the level of pep, you can say, is very, very high on campus, as you might imagine, and it's just a wild hunch on my part, guys, but I'm thinking there's not going to be a whole lot of people getting much sleep here tonight.
Steve, have you checked in with some of the barbecue and stuff that's going on over there with those RVs across the street?
I haven't actually tasted any, but it is kind of wafting over here, and it's kind of tempting.
I think we'll find time to get across there.
Maybe.
I'm right with you guys.
Probably the best words, you know, we talked about the pep rally. Terry Bowden got up there with the game plan for the fans and themselves, and it was inspirational to about, as I mentioned before, close to 7,000 or 8,000 people. It was truly incredible.
Speaking of Terry Bowden and Coach Gene Stallings, we'll be back in just a moment with the late word from the head coaches on our Iron Bowl 93 preview.
Gene Stallings, in his first year at Alabama, wins the big one. Ephraim Thomas intercepts freshman quarterback Stan White deep in Auburn territory on the third play of the game. Robert Jones runs it in. Neither team can get much done offensively as Philip Doyle kicks 3 field goals and Alabama ends the Auburn 4-game win streak. Final score, 16-7.
Welcome back to Iron Bowl 93, and we're out here at Holiday Inn East in Montgomery, and as Raphael Davis is about to explain, the hype of this game is not only going to take place on the football field.
Salvation Army workers decided to make it a little more interesting for those donating to their Christmas fund this year, and all they had to do was throw a little iron into their kettles.
Well, some of them pick one and drop it in, and I kind of have to tell them which one to go into, and they're all pretty nice people.
Folks at the Alpha Insurance Company chose to put their money where their mouths were when it came to rooting for their favorite team. And thanks to them, over 500 underprivileged youngsters will have a brighter Christmas.
But for a total of over $2,000, it'll go to the family court for the children that the courts have had to take from families and to help them have a Christmas. And I think it's a great thing.
It's wonderful. We've already got over 700 children's names on our list for Christmas this year that we're doing. So we need all the money we can get in order to provide them with clothes and socks and shoes and food for Christmas.
And the young at heart at the Capitol Hill Healthcare Center proved team spirit has no age. What do the Auburn faithful think about Aubie the Tiger roaming their halls? Raphael Davis, WSFA News 12, Montgomery.
If you are an employee of the Montgomery Police Department, if you're a Montgomery police officer, I think I know where you were at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Crampton Bowl. The place was crawling with cops, as my friends would like to say. That's what time the Alabama caravan arrived from Tuscaloosa, and the Montgomery Police Department was under strict orders not to let anybody in. And these guys did their job, too. Alabama assistant coach Brother Oliver, he arrived about 15 minutes before the 2 buses carrying the Crimson Tide players and the rest of the coaching staff. And the police officers would not even let Brother Oliver into Crampton Bowl until Gene Stallings arrived. The Tide arrived at 3 o'clock. They worked out for about 45 minutes in sweats and helmets. And after the practice, we had a chance to catch up with Tide coach Gene Stallings.
Well, we've had a pretty good week of practice, and I think everybody's looking forward to the game. We're getting a little bit better shape health-wise and mentally. You know, it's sort of a mental game from here out, but I think we're ready to play.
Coach, how about Jay and Sherman and David? Are they bouncing around?
Well, they were. In fact, I asked Jay just a few minutes ago how his back was feeling. He said he's feeling a whole lot better, and I did not ask Sherman, but David was feeling better. He was, in fact, he worked pretty good yesterday.
Can you tell during the week how things are going, how things are going to happen on Saturday? Is there any way to put your finger on that?
No, I gave up on that. I used to think I could. I can't tell on Fridays anymore. I used to say, well, we're ready or we're not ready, but that whatever theory I had went down the drain.
What are your plans for tonight, Coach?
Well, we'll go to a movie. We'll have dinner. We'll go to a movie, and we'll come back and we'll have a team meeting. It's what we do every Friday. It's no different.
So the Alabama Crimson Tide, right now as we speak, seeing the movie Demolition Man. I read in the paper that the Auburn folks are going to be seeing Carlito's Way. So draw your own inference from that, depending on which movie will be seen by which team. Gene Stallings earlier tonight was here at the Holiday Inn East in Montgomery. He, as you can see right here, he was posing for pictures and signing a few autographs for some of the young fans that came out to see him. And Boy, that lighted up a lot of faces when they got a chance to spend some time with the head coach of the Crimson Tide and get an autograph. What about Terry Bowden? Well, let's go back to Jordan-Hare Stadium and hear from Phil Snow.
Well, Jeff, I don't know about Carlito's Way. I don't even know which way they went when they left here. The team departed a few minutes ago. They're going to spend the night out of town, away from the furor here around the stadium. But before Terry Bowden and the players went to that pep rally about 2 hours ago, we had a chance to talk with him.
How do you feel about the team's preparation?
Feel real good about it. We've done everything we can do. Everyone's worked hard. It's time to go play a football game.
How do you feel about your preparation?
Been good. Just like any other game, we tried to prepare, and I'm not sure that coaches are going to decide the outcome of this game. It's going to be decided by those players on the field.
What are you going to do to keep these guys settled down after they go over there? That is some kind of scene.
Well, we look forward to being over there and being with our people for about 10 or 15 minutes, and this is not a players' pep rally. It's a fans. We're going to go say thank you, and then we're going to go back, get to work, get out of here.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Phil.
Well, it's prediction time when we come back on Iron Bowl 93.
Alabama's championship hopes rest on the broad shoulders of what Pat Dye calls the best defensive unit ever in the Southeastern Conference. Early in the third quarter, Antonio Langham breaks a scoreless battle with a 61-yard interception return for a touchdown. Auburn is never in the game after Langham scores, and Alabama is on the way to a national championship.
Field sale.
Well, earlier tonight, I said these two teams were pretty evenly matched, and probably the home field, this throng of 85,000, would swing it 23-20 to Auburn. Now, Shearer, it's time for you to fess up.
Okay there, Mr. Snow. Well, you know how it used to be in boxing when you were fighting the heavyweight champion? It wasn't enough just to beat him. You had to knock him out. I'm going to use that same analogy in this game. I think Auburn comes into the game playing better football in the month of November, but the Crimson Tide is the champ, and until they get knocked out, I'm going to stick with them. Alabama 17, Auburn 16. 17-16, Phil. Does that score sound familiar?
Yes, I remember that. Well, so much for those predictions. The one that really counts are the fans.
And why do you think so?
They got the best coaches, players, and the fans.
Well, I think Alabama's going to win because next week there'll be no more smoke and mirrors played. It's going to come down to who wants it the most, and Gene Stallings has never lost. He knows how to get the team up, and I don't think he's going to lose next week.
Auburn by 40. And why do you think so?
Because my wife went to Alabama. Oh, we go. Final score, Auburn 40, Alabama -6.
And what do you think?
I think he's probably right, but I did go to Alabama, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Alabama's going to win the Alabama-Auburn game this year because they're going to put David Palmer under center, and they're not going to look back. And we're going to beat Terry Bowden to a pulp. Roll Tide!
Well, Auburn going to win it. Why? They're going undefeated this year. Going all the way.
Auburn will.
And why?
We're the best team. We got the attitude.
Well, Alabama going to win it because they can do it. I know they can do it. Confident.
We're playing on our grass. They think they're going to kick our you-know-what, but we're not going to let them. War Eagle. And we're not going to let that offense of Auburn get loose.
What about you?
Alabama's going to win because of Gene Stallings. You come back to Alabama to win, beat Auburn every year.
Auburn all the way, I guarantee you. Alabama has no offense, and we got the best defense in the SEC. Guaranteed. War Eagles.
I like Alabama. I think Alabama all the way.
And why?
They're a better team. Auburn has improved, but I think Alabama still is a better team.
Alabama's going to win because of superior coaching and superior athletes. And they're so superior they can beat them in street shoes.
Why, Auburn, of course.
And to beat Auburn next week because we're the better-looking team. If you look at alumni from one school to the other, it's clear. Obviously. The better-looking team should win. Exactly. That's why.
Auburn! Yes! Yes! We're the best team on radio!
Oh, tell us how you really feel. Kickoff to Iron Bowl 93, 17 hours from right now. Let's send it back to Jordan-Hare.
I heard two good stories this week. Early in the week, someone asked Coach Gene Stallings, was the tide turning, the balance of power turning? He looked straight at him and said, we've lost 2 games in 3 years. I thought it was a great answer. And here in Auburn, someone said, it's deer season tomorrow. And another guy said, no, it's elephant season tomorrow. That's our Iron Bowl 93. Thank you and good night.
Return to Auburn has been brought to you in part by Max Federal Credit Union, by Capital Chevrolet, and by WLWI Radio. This has been a presentation of WSFA News 12, Alabama's news source.
Friday night. This year's Iron Bowl. Auburn and Alabama kick off in about 14 and a half hours at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Here's yet another preview with a review of the Iron Bowls of the 90s. 3 years ago in his first season as Alabama's head coach, Gene Stallings' team won the Iron Bowl 16-7, snapping Auburn's 4-game winning streak. Bama won again in 91, and last year the Tide shut out the Tigers in Pat Dye's last game 17-0. So in his first year to be involved in the big game, Terry Bowden will be trying to break the Crimson Tide's 3-game Iron Bowl winning streak.
Going to take a great effort this week, as I've now looked at a lot of film. Clearly the best defense that we've seen all year, nobody close. And obviously they're 1 or 2 in the nation in most every category defensively, and no one that we've played plays like that. We are planning and expecting just the most physical, toughest ball game of the year.
The last time Auburn won the Iron Bowl was the last time it was played at Jordan-Hare Stadium. That was in 1989. So none of Alabama's current players have ever lost to the Tigers, and they don't want that streak to end tomorrow.
Since I've been here, I hadn't lost to Auburn, and I speak for the rest of the seniors, but, you know, each and every week, teams go out and try to beat us, and we just got to treat the Auburn game just like another game. You know, it's hard to say because this is a big game, and Coach Stallings always say every game is a big game, but this is the biggest game.
As far as I'm concerned, and the other seniors, I mean, it's going to mean a lot to us to go down to Auburn and play, but to come out on top to come out on top in that game would mean a lot. They'll let me know that, hey, I went through Alabama for a year. I never lost to Auburn. I might have lost a couple of games while I was there, but I never lost to Auburn while I was there.
And in case you missed our hour-long Iron Bowl 93 special earlier tonight, you can see it again if you're hooked up to one of the 2 cable companies. Telecable in Auburn and in Opelika will air the program tonight at 10:35, and again tomorrow morning at 9 on Channel 24, and in Montgomery and Prattville, TCI of Alabama will show the Iron Bowl show tonight at 11 on cable Channel 57, and it's going to be a good one tomorrow. Kickoff 1 o'clock. No TV unless you got a ticket to Bryant-Denny Stadium or unless you see it in person at Jordan-Hare.
And there's always the radio.
Always the radio. Jim Fife and company will be doing 2 radio networks. In fact, the Auburn guys and then Eli Gold and the Alabama guys. So
that's right.
A lot of places to tune it in.
And the highlights right here tomorrow night. Thanks, Jerome. Still ahead, we'll take a look at another side.
Going on. The Civil War being played at Autzen Stadium, and right now, great rivalry this is. And would Auburn be able to stay unbeaten? Well, James Bostic, 70-yard run in the 4th quarter, breaks open a 1-point game. Auburn rallies back to beat Alabama by 8. Even though Stan White, the quarterback, left this game with an injury, the team comes back. Auburn wins. They will be the team to go unbeaten for the entire year. They don't have any more games to play. Steve Cyphers watched it at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
All right, thanks, fellas. Patrick, when Stan went down, were you totally prepared to do what you had to do?
Well, I prayed about it all week, and, you know, I asked God that he'd give me a chance to do whatever, whether it's back up, playing whatever. I've been dreaming about this my whole life, to play an Auburn-Alabama game. You know, it came down to it. We ran the they said we couldn't run the ball, and that's exactly what we did then. We ran the football on them. And, you know, I can't give enough credit to our offensive line and running backs and defense. You know, it's just a great team effort. We knew we could do it. We came back in the second half and did it.
How does it feel to finish undefeated and yet end right here?
Oh, it don't matter. We're undefeated now. NCAA told us what we had to do. We won it on the field. We just went out and played every day, you know, practiced hard, won the games. You know, we can't go to a bowl game now, but we did what we could do. We did what they allowed us to do.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Patrick Nix. Back to you in the studio. Now back to teams that can play.
All the adverse conditions they had to deal with this year, it's a tremendous effort.
Not going to be voted in the coaches poll, but eligible in the bowl poll to be voted because their points in the media AP poll gets doubled. We'll continue here on the Delta Faucet Halftime Report with much more on Rivalry Saturday, the third Saturday.
In order, I'm going to have to sleep on it, but obviously the top 5 teams in no particular order yet are Auburn, Florida State, Notre Dame, Nebraska, and West Virginia. West Virginia goes in the top 5, where I don't know at this stage.
Pino, I agree with you. I got the same 5 teams, except I have Florida State #1. They're obviously the best football team in the nation, the most talent. I think they woke themselves up after that Notre Dame loss. I still think Nebraska should play Florida State for the national title because they're the highest-ranked team that's undefeated and untied. I think they should play in the Orange Bowl as is right now.
Well, we've all got the same 5 teams. Florida State's #1. Then I have to put Nebraska at #2, and they should get a chance at #1 right now. Auburn at #3, Notre Dame at 4, and then West Virginia at #5. I agree with the coach. Florida State's #1 simply because they've played the toughest schedule in the nation they've had to endure.
Irish fans will cry, how can you slide Notre Dame below Florida State, even though they beat them by a touchdown? But Florida State, over the course of the season, has been so dominant. It's tough not to think that they're one of the top 2 teams in the country. I think we're moving towards possibly a Florida State-Nebraska Orange Bowl, but both of those teams, it should be pointed out, have very tough games ahead. We have a lot more coming up.
This was the scene this afternoon downtown Auburn at Toomer's Corner. Thousands of fans, hundreds of rolls of toilet paper, an Auburn tradition after big wins, and they don't come any bigger than today. Good evening, everybody. I'm Barry Ammons. Thanks for joining us tonight. Terry Bowden became the first rookie head coach in NCAA Division I history to go undefeated. Backup quarterback Patrick Nix engineered a second-half comeback as the Auburn Tigers capped off a perfect 11-0 season with a 22-14 victory over Alabama. It was only the second trip by the Crimson Tide to Jordan-Hare Stadium. They've lost both times. Most football experts picked the Tigers to finish with a losing record. Their first-year head coach and the players just didn't listen. We'll have all the highlights and comments from both locker rooms in about 15 minutes when Jeff Shearer joins us with sports. We're going to go ahead and get up with the rest of the news now. The boys.
Both sides fought to the bitter end. Unfortunately, with every game, there is a loser. Today, Auburn was the victor, while Bama came out on the short end.
Man, it's the greatest thing I've ever had in my life. It's great to be on the Tigers. Anybody and everybody, thank you, and we love you, and it's AU, baby, #1.
I played a small role in the whole thing, and just, you know, I can't give enough credit to the offensive line and to the running backs and all that for, they carried it at the end.
We knew it inside. We had it in our heart. We had it in our heart. We just came out and proved everybody.
I was scared to death. They look so strong, but we played as a team, and the team won, and I guess it was just meant to be.
A game like this is going to boil down really to 3 or 4 plays. You know, you either make them or you don't make them.
We just want to make them a play. We're the better team, and you know, I got to give Auburn all the credit because they didn't give up.
All in all, we played a decent game. We didn't do the thing we should have in certain situations, and that's what Auburn capitalized on.
Our mistakes really the difference. I think we had an excellent chance to win the ball game and just kind of killed ourselves with penalties.
In the end, it was a well-fought game for both clubs, and the crowd out at Jordan-Hare Stadium today was phenomenal. The 11-0 record left with Auburn with still an outside chance at a possible national championship, but the team needs a little help, and the 6th-ranked Tigers received plenty today. Take a look at the top 5. Remember, Auburn is ranked 6th in the AP heading into this week's play. With the win today, they're sure to stay there and move up because #1 Notre Dame loses to Boston College on the game's last play. Florida State is winning big over North Carolina State as we speak, so it looks like the Seminoles will move into #1 most likely. Meanwhile, Nebraska was idle today. Up next for them, Big 8 rival Oklahoma. So, you know, a loss could be in the making for the Cornhuskers in the future. Miami loses today to West Virginia. Ohio State in its Big Ten matchup with Michigan loses big to the Wolverines. So with their loss, Auburn should make a move into the second or third spot. Great situation going into the bowls. Unfortunately for the Tigers, they will not see any bowl action at all. We also want to mention that in the Division I AA play, the top-ranked team, Troy State, ended the regular season.
How big it is to beat Alabama as the Auburn head coach. Congratulations to Terry Bowden. He's got 3 kids, aged 3 and under, living in the athletic dorm and just living out a tremendous rookie season.
One thing's for certain now. We all know this. Auburn will be unbeaten on New Year's Day. As I said earlier in my poll, I think they'll be number 3 in the bowl poll tomorrow. So, Florida State loses to Florida. Nebraska loses to Oklahoma. Auburn goes to number 1 on New Year's Day. Do you consider them for the national championship? I certainly do. They beat Alabama. They beat Florida. They made it through the SEC schedule. It'll make everything real messy.
If there was a championship game, we could match them against the winner New Year's Day. Let me go over ACC, North Carolina. Coach Mack Brown was...
Now it's... Look easy. The perfect season, it's in the books. Auburn wrapped up the first 11-0 season in school history with an 8-point win over arch-rival Alabama. Perfect day for football. Auburn trying to put a big hurt on Alabama. American League MVP Frank Thomas on hand to see the Iron Bowl return to Jordan-Hare Stadium for only the second time ever. Pick it up in the second quarter. Tigers leading 3-0, but here comes Alabama. On the reverse, Kevin Lee goes 63 yards. Nobody's going to catch the fastest man on the Crimson Tide. Alabama on top 7-3. And not for long, Jay Barker trying to throw out of the Bama end zone. Andre Miller trips him up for a safety. It made the score 7-5. Late in the half from the 19, Chris Anderson on the sweep, tied on top 14-5 at the half. But second half, all Auburn. Stan White goes out with a knee injury. Patrick Nix comes in for the key play of the game. 4th down, 15 yards needed for a first from the 35. Frank Sanders outjumps Tommy Johnson. Then Sanders dives into the end zone. An incredible play to get the Tigers within 2. Early in the 4th, Scott Etheridge connects on the 26-yard field goal. Tigers on top now, 15-14. The Auburn defense made sure the lead would stand up on 4th and 1 from the 29. Terrence Lynch is stuffed for a loss. They were going wild at Jordan-Hare. Then with 2.5 minutes to go, James Bostic puts it away, the 70-yard touchdown run. Another huge day for number 33, 19 carries, 147 yards. Pandemonium on the Plains. Auburn wins it 22-14. No doubt this game was won on the 4th down miracle. Patrick Nix to Frank Sanders, and in his first season at Auburn, Terry Bowden makes a big splash.
It's unreal. You know, I thought about it all week, and, you know, I do every week. I get those gut feelings that this is the week, and, you know, I prayed about it all week, and just, you know, I just wanted to do my job, and I wanted to be the part, whatever part I had to play, whether it be, you know, signal the plays in, just look at the defenses, tell Stan what's going on. You know, I just wanted to do whatever I could do.
I was surprised. I said, God, it's 4th. I thought he was going to punt. But Patrick came against and said, oh, it's 4th and 15. Then Patrick said, well, he just said 278 D takeoff. And I was like, what? I thought we were going to punt, but, you know what I mean? I guess it's just something to come in with confidence boosters.
Tommy was in great position. Frank is a good receiver, and he just out-jumped Tommy on that one and made a great play.
You were supposed to be on Sanders on that play? Or?
Well, we lined up wrong. We lined up wrong, and they capitalized on it.
And like always, you just don't ever quit believing. You keep believing in yourself that somebody's going to make a play, and you don't change too much. You keep pounding, and then it just started happening.
Oh, every time we did something, we were penalized. The long pass, of course, we got a reverse for a long gainer, and they got the pass for a long gainer. But, you know, I think the penalties really hurt us. I really do. I feel badly about that.
Alabama penalized 12 times for 117 yards. Auburn was called for 4 penalties for 37 yards. When it was over, the Tigers were celebrating at Jordan-Hare while the Crimson Tide players boarded the bus for a long trip back to Tuscaloosa. Jerome Hand talked to some of the seniors for Auburn and Alabama.
For the seniors on both sides, their last Iron Bowl was one to remember, but for very different reasons. Auburn's Stan White finally got a victory against Alabama. However, an injury knocked White out of the game for the 2nd straight year. Fullback Reed McMillan had a big run for a key first down in the 3rd quarter behind senior offensive lineman Wayne Gandy and Anthony Redmond. McMillan could hardly contain himself when the final whistle sounded, and his years of frustration against Bama had ended.
Man, this is a dream year. We ended it all right here. That's it. That's the end of it.
As happy as the Tigers were, the Crimson Tide seniors had to face the reality of losing their final Iron Bowl game. Bama tackle Matt Hammond set a new school record with his 48th consecutive start. But after the game, Matt and the other Tide seniors had to deal with their first loss to Auburn.
Well, that streak right now doesn't mean a whole lot to me. A couple of weeks after I've had time to get over this, that'll mean a lot to me. Right now, I just wish we'd won the ball game.
Everybody saw the game, so ain't much more to be said about it. I mean, it's over now. Auburn 11-0. They had a perfect season, and I'd like to congratulate Auburn on their perfect season, and I wish them the best of luck next year. I don't know, this has been a tough season for us. Anytime you lose to Auburn, that's a lump in your throat. We just got to try to rebound. We got a SEC championship game December 4th, and this is going to be a tough one to swallow.
And to go out when everything's against you, the only people believe is your teammates and your coaches and a few select fans. And to win 11 games, I don't even know the word. I mean, I don't know what else to that good to tell you.
While the Tigers' perfect season has come to an end, the Crimson Tide must rebound now and get ready for an SEC championship game in 2 weeks. At Auburn's Jordan-Hare Stadium, Jerome Hand, WSFA Sports 12.
Thanks to a whole bunch of upsets, Auburn is a sure thing to crack the top 5 tomorrow when the new poll comes out. The Tigers could be ranked as high as number 3. That's because top-ranked Notre Dame is knocked off by Boston College this afternoon, 41-39. So the FSU Seminoles poised to reclaim at the top spots. 2 Bowdens in the top 5, 62-3 that final. Ohio State shut out by Michigan.
From the Alabama Sports Network, this is University of Alabama Football with Coach Gene Stallings. Brought to you by Golden Flake Snack Foods. One taste and you're stuck on Golden Flake. By Coca-Cola Classic and your local Coca-Cola bottler. Always a good call. Always Coca-Cola. By First Alabama Bank, with the strength to make your dreams come true. By your Alabama Toyota dealers. I love what you do for me, Toyota. By Great Southern Wood, makers of Osmos pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. By Delta Airlines, we love to fly, and it shows. By Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, the caring company. By 10K Thirst Quencher, the official sports beverage of the Crimson Tide. 10K, really, really good stuff. And by Likes Hot Dogs. Likes, the right taste every time. Now, with Coach Gene Stallings, here's John Forney.
Hello, and welcome to the Coach Gene Stallings Show, featuring a replay of Alabama versus Auburn, the 58th contest between those two fine schools. Coach Stallings, there's a great second-half effort on the part of the Auburn Tigers to win that one.
Well, it was, and, we had opportunities to win the ball game. Most games like this boil down within a few plays. We've got too many men on the field when they miss a field goal. That hurt us. We get a safety. That hurt us. They complete a Hail Mary pass. We get a reverse. We miss a tackle on a long run. And then we got way too many penalties. We came within one penalty of setting a kind of record at Alabama, and you just can't get that many penalties and expect to. Yeah, we had 8 first half, and that put us in. And then we were first and 15, first and second 25, and then we were only effective 1 out of 3rd time on 3rd down. And when you do that, it's going to be hard to win a ball game.
There were some games with some big plays, and we'll take a look at it now from Jordan-Hare. Jam-packed crowd at Bryant Denny's, as a matter of fact, Coach, watching on the
Yeah, it was a big crowd, and we had a little trouble hearing, but I thought that would probably happen. We missed a block right in here, and then it looked like when I studied the film, we had a chance to get that one started, but we missed a block. This is a nice run right here by Chris taking the ball on out. We ran the ball fairly well. We just didn't call enough running plays. I think we only here a little razzle-dazzle. We're going to fake a reverse, and we're going to throw the football. And anyway, it was an incomplete pass, and sort of slowed that particular series down. We had to punt the ball to them, and now they're coming out. Really a nice play right there by Andre Royan.
Good day.
Yeah, he did. Andre trapped him for a loss one time and made a couple tackles for losses. And it was a lot of good plays on both sides, really. That's 22. Willie Gaston coming up, getting in on that tackle. Both quarterbacks got injured. Here they're throwing a screen and end up losing about 6 yards. Good pursuit. Maskey Hall makes a lot of tackles. Now, here's a play that really hurt us now. It was a little miscommunication. Nobody's responsibility but mine. But anyway, that hurt us. And we ended up giving them 3 points when they didn't have to get 3. And then a safety. Here's another good run by Chris coming on now. We were running the toss week and having a little success on that particular play. And anyway, that's 5 points worth right there. Here he comes out and fake, throws the ball in, and it's a nice running catch of David Palmer. He gets the ball and gets it on out around a 25, 27-yard gain. We didn't try. We're getting the ball out here to him pretty quickly at time or two. I think David caught the ball for caught 4 or 5 passes, but we never could really get anything uncovered deep. We had some receivers open deep and just couldn't get the ball to him. The quarterback was trapped 6 times also.
As you indicated, Coach, Alabama was moving the ball on the ground, and we'll see more action on the second quarter right after these messages. But just about to do something about it.
Yeah, we really have a nice reverse here and get some points on the board, and then we get some more points right. Boy, this is a nice tackle right there. Andre made several big plays. In 91, Damian Jeffries is playing hard. Here we're tossing the ball weak, and nice run there by Chris, and we made quite a bit on that play. Now we're going to fake the same thing and run a reverse set at the top of the screen. Here he is coming around. Got a nice block by Jay. Roosevelt Patterson gets out and gets that block. Tony Johnson's out in front of him, and he just really outruns him on into the end zone. About a 60-something yard gainer, and that's Kevin Lee taking the ball on that reverse, and that's really a nice play, and I thought it was an excellent call by Mal at the particular time. It was a 2nd and 2, and I'm sure they thought we were going to go ahead and just go for the first down, and it was a nice call and resulted in a big game.
Kevin's a very fine senior from Mobile.
Yeah, and he has really improved. He makes big plays in practically every ball game for us, and that puts us ahead now 7-3, and then you'll see a little later where we end up giving them a safety, and somewhere along the line we've got to go ahead and get rid of that football. So anyway, it's 7-3. I really thought that William Watts kicked that ball extremely well. He kicks that ball into the end zone, out of the end zone twice, and he's just a freshman, and he's going to be a fine player. This series right here sort of came back to haunt us. Right here he is. That was sort of a hook and go, and he knocked our receiver down. And here we get a safety on this play. Getting rid of it right there. Anyway, that makes it 7-5, and then we punt the ball, and we don't get a very good punt. They have pretty good field position, but we don't allow them to get the ball on in. Nice tackle right there by Darrell Blackburn, who came in. That's number 44. He's the guy that blocked the field goal against Mississippi State. Here we are coming out, and that wasn't much play. I don't even know why that was in there. Anyway, here we'll go. Defensively, we made several key plays in Maskey Hall and on that particular play. The 4th down play hurt us too later on in the game. This is a nice, it's right for the half. Call timeout a couple of times. Kevin catches it. Now we're tossing the ball back over here to Chris Anderson. Nice block by the fullback, and he puts that on into the end zone. That was a nice block at the point of attack, and that was a good run right there. Something coming down on the field. Here's a replay on the play. Now all of a sudden we got the game in pretty good shape right there. You know, we played hard, and yet we still had 8 penalties the first half. And they had 1 penalty. And that sort of bothered me that we couldn't get anything going because we were first and 15, second and 25. Yeah, we get an interference penalty on this play. That allowed them to have another shot at the ball. Anyway, they didn't score, and we go in ahead 14-5, and we'd played tough the first half, and yet we weren't making the third down plays.
Certainly had it 14-5 for Alabama, and the second half will be coming your way right after these messages from our good sponsor. So Alabama kicks with the win at Jordan Hill.
Yeah, here we are. Here's William kicking the ball out. I was really pleased the way. And then Brian Dill kicked one 68 yards. We got a short one or two, but he made some nice plays. Here they're throwing the ball on out. It's an incomplete pass. And it's just a swamp of balls there 2 or 3 times. Boy, we bring the ball out, bring it out, and we get a hold in front. It's a big difference in having that ball on the 50-yard line and having the ball back on the 30. That's past that's on the 35. Now it's brought on back, and anyway, we've got a punt backed up, and Brian Dill, as a rule of thumb, did a pretty good job. Wasn't very good coverage, just Brian making his tackle right here, and that sort of saved us because the guy was on his way to a long gain or maybe a touchdown if Brian hadn't gotten it. Here we are dropping back and get an interception right here. Great interception. I feel badly when the player, he's just excited. He's taking it back right there. It does that. And that's a 15-yard penalty. I'm telling you, I just
don't believe that was an intent.
Well, you know, the rule says when you drawing attention to yourself. Anyway, that particular play hurt us. Here he is rolling out. Going to run with the football, and we got to wrap our arms around him. He's a big, fine, strong runner, and he made some nice plays, and he got injured, and I hated to see that also. I think that's where he got hurt, really. Then they bring in another quarterback right in here, and he throws the football, and their man goes up and takes it away from ours, and it's a touchdown, and that's not excitement there. I mean, anyway, that's 14-12. We were in position to make the play, and their receiver just made a nice play, and you got to give him credit for it. Throwing the ball over to David Palmer, who catches the ball. We had some hard time making third down. Here he is tossing back. Boy, it's a nice play right there by Jeremy Nunn. Jeremy just goes on back to the huddle. He's done it lots of times. He's played well for us, and we're going to miss him. We're going to run a little draw play right in here and do a pretty good job defensively. That's Jeremy Nunn in on that play again. Anyway, into the third quarter, we're still ahead 14-12.
We're still ahead 14-12 in the last quarter of action on a pretty afternoon. Great football day at Jordan-Hare Stadium. We'll be back with the final quarter. Versus Auburn, here's a field goal.
Puts them ahead right there, then 15-14. And we've still got plenty of time. All we've got to do is get the ball down for a field goal. And we got an excellent field. Oh, right there. That guy. That's when Kevin Lee got hurt. That's some of the things you don't like to see happen. You go for your knees, and it's not much you can do. Here he's throwing the ball out, and that was an interception right there. That really hurt us. I got a 15-yard thing on. I guess that was a late hit or something. Here he is tossing it back. Sherman Williams, he's getting better. Maybe by the time we play Florida, he'll be totally well. But we'll lose Jay, and this is a bad decision on my part right here. It's about 3 inches to go, and I felt like we could make it, but we didn't. This is a nice tackle right in here by John Walters. Yeah, I thought we could make that and go on down. I'm trying to win the football game. It's a poor decision. Here is, there was sort of a bad snap. The guy, Lemansky Hall's what the guy comes. That's a nice play, Lemansky, but not allow him to get in that end zone because he was heading toward the end zone, and
And this is a nice throw and catch to get it out of there. Boy, we were backed up. All we need still is just a field goal, and David Palmer's got the ball. Plenty of time. Just got to get a. Oh man, close. Yeah, and you would have gone a long way with that one, but it was just one of those close ones. And then this is a little bit underthrown, and that was an interception also. We still get the ball, but they make a long run right in here. We miss a tackle there. Safety comes up, sort of a poor angle. We miss him again right there. That's a nice run to their back, and he takes it on in for a touchdown. Anyway, we still got time. You know, now when they kick it, now we're 8 points behind, and I'm still thinking we're going to come back and tie the ball game and have to go for 2. Anyway, here's Jay in. Jay gets hurt in just a minute. Get that ball on out, and nice throw to get it out of bounds, Chad. All right, Chad gets it out of bounds. A little later on, we make a great throw into Chris Anderson. Gets the ball on down. That's when he got injured, right there. Ligament. I hate it for Jay. He plays hard, and he'll be a while before he'll be able to do anything. I'm sure that will require surgery, and he's done a lot for our team. Ryan Burdorf throwing the ball and trying to get out of bounds, but we didn't. And the clock's still running. We used the timeout. He comes back in here and makes a nice throw. That's a nice throw and catch. And now we still got the ball down about 42, and I'm still feeling pretty good. But anyway, we weren't able to get it in. And anyway, we lose the football game, and it hurts me. It hurts me for the player. Sometimes I just think good things don't happen to them all the time. I worry about that.
Time ran out, 22-14, a great Auburn victory, and we congratulate them. The university feature for today is a very appropriate one, as you'll see right now.
The Alabama-Auburn game, one of, if not the biggest rivalry in the Southeastern Conference. It dates to the 1890s, but for 4 decades, the two did not play. After the 1907 game, there was a dispute over how much meal money the players should receive and how to choose officials for the game. The two schools reached an agreement on those points and tried to continue the series in 1908, but the only available date was November 28th, and the Auburn Board of Trustees wouldn't allow the Tigers to play on Thanksgiving weekend. Throughout the 20s and 30s, several individuals and groups tried to get the two schools back on the gridiron, but it finally took a resolution in the state legislature to encourage a compromise. So athletic department officials from the two schools met in April of 1948.
And at that meeting, Auburn officials readily agreed to give Alabama all the tickets they wanted, and plus other concessions to that particular game. And Mr. Coleman was actually placed in charge of running that renewal game, which, as you said, occurred on December 4, 1948. And the first touchdown came on a 6-yard pass from Gordon Pettis to Butch Avenger, and Alabama went on to win the game 55-0.
And the rest, as they say, is history. For the Gene Stallings Show, I'm Dean Tanner.
That highlights the assistant coaches. Today is Danny Pearman, one of our young coaches that handles the special teams and also handles the offensive tackles. And came to us as a GA. He earned himself a position, and I think he's going to be a fine football coach.
p.m. Get your tickets and watch the Tide basketball team play. Coach, we'll play Florida in the SEC championship game. I'm sure you have some comments on that.
Well, I'm glad to win the game. You know, it hurts to lose the game the way that we did, and I feel badly for the players. But that game's over and behind, and it'll take a day or two to forget that one, because it was an important game. The setting was the way that you really like it if you're a competitor, and our guys are. We lose Jay, who'll be playing the quarterback position right now. I really don't know. Florida had a great win, and we're looking forward to playing him December the 4th.
We will have one more Coach Stallings show next week. Right now, speaking for Coach Stallings and the rest of...
This has been a production of the Alabama Sports Network.
you deck the halls?
Third, and there's nowhere to go but up. After beating Alabama yesterday in the Iron Bowl, the Tigers climb 3 spots to number 3, right behind Florida State and unbeaten Nebraska. 2 Bowdens in the top 5. Auburn picks up 6 votes for number 1. How about that? Notre Dame and undefeated West Virginia round out the top 5. 6 through 10 looks like this: Tennessee, Florida, Texas A&M, Miami, and Wisconsin. Alabama falls 6 spots from 11th down to 17th. Yesterday at Jordan-Hare Stadium, the party continued long after the game was over. Auburn 22, Alabama 14. The hard-hitting game took a heavy toll on both teams, especially the quarterbacks. Jay Barker's season is over after injuring a knee in the final minutes, and Stan White's college career came to an end when Stan hurt a knee in the 3rd quarter.
I hate to end my season like that, but there's no greater win than I've ever been associated with. Patrick did a great job coming in and keeping his poise, and the offense got it going, started moving the ball. I've just never been associated with a win so big, and heck, my knees kill me right now, but it doesn't feel near as good as the way I'm feeling.
Jay got his, it was a ligament on Jay's injury, and of course he'll be out for a long time. And Kevin Lee, I don't know exactly when, he got a pretty bad lick to it.
This team right here, whether people say is the best athletes, I wouldn't even kid anyone about that. This team could go on that field, take our stands and stick them in those stands, in some way they would beat anybody in the country. And now they may not vote us, but some when it's there, it's there. When there's chemistry, when the spirit it was so big between the fans and the players as it was this year, the game is a team game. It would happen.
Who can argue with him? Oh, looks like this guy won that contest to see who could get closest to the field at Jordan-Hare. In the NBA.
By the time we did our 6 o'clock show last night, just an hour and a half after Auburn's win over Alabama, Auburn fans were already wearing the latest Tiger fashion, sweatshirts and T-shirts that had the score printed on them. As Raphael Davis reports, today vendors of all that Tiger paraphernalia started watching the dollars roll in.
It kind of looked like the day after Christmas at a major department store.
You want to go to Johnson Malone one day, but they're going to have a lot more now.
It was the day after, all right, the day after Iron Bowl 93, that is, and these shoppers weren't looking to return or exchange anything.
I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm fixing to leave to go back there, and I figured it'll be a few days before we can get T-shirts.
There's just nothing else but Auburn. My husband was born and raised in Auburn. That's all we know is Auburn. They're wonderful. I love to see it on this side of the store.
But next door, things were not quite as hectic.
Well, it's just kind of strange that the Auburn side is totally packed and there's nobody on the Alabama side. It's like all the Alabama people they just decided to hide today because everybody was so for Alabama was going to win. They were going to come back and beat the Tigers, and they just didn't.
As you can see, walking through the Bama side of the store is no problem, but Crimson Tide fans say, hey, they know how to offer a little charity.
Well, you have to give them a break. I mean, they got to win every once in a while. Well, once every 4 or 5 years, you have to let them win to encourage them. So it'll be a good game.
My daughter made me.
I think if she's a War Eagle and Tiger fan.
Yes, she is, and I'm an Alabama fan, but I have to stand over here and buy the shirt.
Did you lose a bet?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact.
The owners of the Bama Fever Tiger Pride store say even though they were having a tough time keeping the racks full, they were glad to have the business. Raphael Davis, WSFA News 12, Montgomery.
Well, clerks say before the stores closed last night, Tiger fans were lined 2 stores down the mall waiting to buy stuff, and the stores opened its door an hour early today. And if you'd like to see the highlights from the game one more time and hear what Coach Bowden has to say, stay tuned for the Auburn Football Review. It's coming up next. Have a safe holiday weekend. We'll see you again next weekend. Good night.
This football team in here, if there's ever been a true champion, you have stood the test, paid the price, done everything that you can do when you got a O at the end of it, men. That's all you can ask. And you've done it in style and you've done it in class. And I congratulate you. And I ain't got to tell you what you mean to me. And I shall enjoy this cigar.
Now listen, man. Today, and I don't have to tell you, but today, you have set the standard. The greatest football team ever to play at Auburn University, 11-0, because of what you did on the field, 11-0. It's never been done before. There's better teams, maybe. There can be better, but you have done something nobody else can do, and no one will ever take it. You'll be the benchmark that they look to. And then one more thing. Absolutely. Today, I became an Auburn man. And I can't believe it took so long.
This is the Auburn Football Review with Coach Terry Bowden. Brought to you by your Alabama Coca-Cola bottler. Always Coca-Cola. Colonial Bank. Good people, great service. Great Southern Wood, makers of Osmos pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. Your Alabama John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a deer. By Golden Flake Snack Foods. One taste and you're stuck on Golden Flake. LDDS Communications, the official long-distance carrier of the Auburn Alumni Association. Likes Hot Dogs. One bite and you'll know why they say, when it's likes, it's gone. Your Alabama Toyota dealer. I love what you do for me, Toyota. And by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, the Caring Company.
Auburn's dream season is complete. Auburn 22, Alabama 14. Congratulations, Terry Bowden, on a record-setting year.
Well, I can't say enough about it. All the players and all the people and the fans. I really think we could take this team, if we could take our fans with us, on planes to anywhere in the country, this team would beat any team in the country. And I think those pollsters need to step up and look at this team now, because this team may be the best team in the country.
I can't think of a better way to go into the dressing room now and talk to some of the players after this marvelous Saturday at Jordan-Hare.
Oh, how many times I've heard you say, I have to be ready, I have to be ready, I have to stay in the game.
It's unreal. You know, I've thought about it all week, and, you know, I do every week. I get those gut feelings that this is the week, and, you know, I prayed about it all week, and just, you know, I just wanted to do my job, and I wanted to be the part, whatever part I had to play, whether it be, you know, signal the plays in, just look at the defenses, tell Stan what's going on. You know, I just wanted to do whatever I could do.
I hate to end my season like that, but there's no greater win than I've ever been associated with. Patrick did a great job coming in and keeping his poise, and the offense got it going, you know, started moving the ball. You know, I've just never been associated with a win so big, and heck, my knees kill me right now, but it doesn't feel near as good as the way I'm feeling, you know.
Tony and I, you know, said, you know, if we don't do it, we're going to lose.
We had to do it with this team.
Is somebody on fire here?
I think it's Harold.
What turned it around? What turned it around, Damon?
We just believed in ourselves and came out in the second half, played hard, played together, and we pulled it out.
Ain't nobody take this away from us. It's the best year it's made 5 years. It's beautiful. I love it. When my grandchildren are on my knee and I'm sitting there sucking on Werther's Originals, I can sit there and tell them about the great day that we beat Alabama and went 11-0.
We gave them, you know, 2 touchdowns this year, but still, they didn't come away with the W, though. It's ours. And Auburn is back.
Patrick came in and did a great job as far as coming in and take over. I can't take anything with Patrick. He's a great quarterback. He's going to lead them to a lot of more success in the future. He did what he had to do. He came in. That's what we've been doing all season. People have been stepping up and, you know, doing what they had to do. He did his part. So, hey, we're 11-0. We're champions.
To go out when everything's against you, the only people believe is your teammates and your coaches and a few select fans. And to win 11 games, I don't even know the word. I mean, I don't know Webster that good to tell you.
I thought we was going to punt. But Patrick came again and said, oh, it's 4th and 15. Then Patrick said, well, he just said 278 D takeoff. And I was like, what? I thought we were going to punt, but, you know what I mean? I guess it's just something to come in with confidence boosters. Coach Bowden did a great job of calling. I mean, you know, he stepped it up when he had to.
And Antonio didn't go to your side that time.
Nope. Coach Bowden had read it that Tommy Bowden had read that he was playing me just to the field and wasn't playing me to the boundary. And they kind of had tricked him up with that play. And I guess I was on gas and it wasn't no haps.
Stan being hurt, Patrick had to come in and step up. And like I say, he hadn't been playing that much this season, you know. But everybody, we knew we had confidence in him. And like I say, he came in, threw the touchdown, and got his team started. And Coach said in locker room before we went back out there, we went out to run the ball. And like I said, we just geared down and got with the running game, and like I said, it was working for us.
What a player, Coach.
Well, I mean, there's so many of them. And, you know, at halftime, I said everybody believes they're going to be the guy to make a play that wins the game. And if everybody tries, one of you will make it happen. It was Patrick Nix, and I'm not sure everyone would have guessed it would be Pat Nix.
Wonderful story. Okay, due to our time constraints, we're just going to show you a couple of 3 plays of the first half. And it was during this time, really, that you established the things you had to do to win the game.
Well, in the first half, it was a strategy battle. Our seniors come onto the field, but you'll see the first half, it was a battle. I mean, I'm sitting there trying to find a way to get past the line of scrimmage, and they had an excellent defensive plan. We could not get much past the line of scrimmage, and our defense was doing well. They had a couple of big plays. But really, one of the key factors of the game was Wayne Hall and our defensive strategy to take David Palmer out of the game.
Don't let him run after the catch.
He didn't. He was not a factor in this game whatsoever in any phase of the game, and we go ahead 3-0. But they had 2 big plays, 2 big offensive plays. I think 3 plays for 2 scores, right. And really those were big scores. And you'll see here again where they get the ball to a great athlete, but see, gang tackling is so important. You can't beat a one man like that with one guy. You have to have a lot of people in our team hustling to the football field. I'm very nervous. It was my first Auburn, Alabama game in my life, and I was very nervous. Great pressure on their fine quarterback, Jay Barker, and defense. It was just intensity for 60 minutes. And to give us a 7-5 game, I think we haven't seen the safety yet, but you're going to see another coverage.
That was just the safety, but you know, the kicking game was so vital with this guy. He can beat you so many ways, but he never got started. That's
right. And again, the funny, because the first half, the highlights are our ability to contain Palmer, and that being an important strategy of the game was very, very critical to the final outcome of the game.
And so it was 14-5 at the half. And I think some of the fans, maybe including myself, did not believe, but this team has come back 7 of the last 8 games. So
well, you know, it was a very frustrating first half because, again, Brother Oliver, their defensive coordinator, had put a defense there that we could not beat. They had us in a situation where they had us in the right fronts. Their personnel was matched up, and they were just beating us. There's no excuses. They were just beating us. So in the second half, there was no change. Someone had to step up. It was going to be player against player. In the second half, some players stepped up, and the big plays made the difference. In the second half, our defense played well the whole game.
And they certainly did. And we'll be back to see that exciting second half in just a minute.
For hard hitting.
We move to the second half of play now. Get your pen and pencil out because we have some important information for you, telephone numbers and such that we'll give you in a few moments. Time to play, Coach. Down 14-5.
I walked a pair of shoes off my feet, I think, in this game. And again, the first, I'm going to tell you, people always talk about the turnaround offensively. The defense changed the game because the way they set the tempo in the opening series is for Alabama. Sack after sack. Look at that. Look at Anthony Harris jump over top. And 2 sacks in a row. Ended up being 4th and 29 and gave us some field position. Here you'll almost see, and here's a great punt return. Almost a breakout right here. If the punter hadn't made the tackle, it was going to go all the way. It gave us great field position there that began to get at the game swung around now.
Now you have an interception here, but still the momentum doesn't swing with the interception.
No, now we were mixing it up. We were mixing it up. They tried to make something outside. Wow. Just great pursuit and great effort to pursue.
3rd and 7 right here.
Right here, we're just making the plays. Again, defensive hustle, defensive effort. And we begin to help the plays, and Stan gets this thing going now. Watch the great effort. They cover the pass. Watch this now. He makes it about 1 yard on the fourth. You don't win games unless you do things like that, to make a play like that. Reed McMillan comes in. We're beginning to bust it. We've got him watching the pass. We've got the things going east and west, so we can get back inside. Stan now gets the ball down to the 30 with a beautiful pass to Frank Sanders.
Man.
And now you've got him guessing a little bit. It took a while.
2 plays later, Stan is injured, and here comes Patrick Nix on 4th and 15.
Well, it was 4th and 15. He wasn't warmed up, so we threw a short side takeoff. Beautiful play. I don't see any pushing off or any penalties whatsoever on that play. Just a beautiful play by Frank Sanders and a beautiful pass that was thrown high for a completion. And that was the turning point, I think, in the ball game.
Now this place is going crazy. It is rocking.
Well, the number of the fans, if you knew how much you can help a football game or involve, number of maybe procedure penalties are caused by players that can't hear. And here comes, James Bostic. All you got to do is keep feeding the ball, and it's going to happen. He's powerful, he's tough, and he says, bring me the ball and bring it to me.
3rd and 2.
Great third down play. Great play. Alabama was 1 of 13 on third down conversions, and we were 6 for 18.
6 yards rushing in the second half.
They had 6 yards rushing. We had 38 minutes of control clock to their 21, and we had 218 yards of rushing. Those were the things that helped us win a ball game.
As the 4th quarter begins, they hold on the goal line, and you kick the field goal to go ahead 15-14.
Well, that's the one that put us up. Now we turn the pressure over to them. They've got to score to win, and they've got to kick into the win in the 4th quarter. There again is team. Look, watch how many people come to jump on and help. Kevin Lee was hurt, but thank goodness he was able to walk off the field. And boy, it was a physical game. It was big play here now. Watch the big play. Brian Robinson makes a big interception, brings it back down. Now we've got the ball in their territory again. But I'm going to tell you, that was a very physical game. If you ever thought you wanted to go out there and play a game like this, you better be tough. People were knocked around all day. Right here's a critical 3rd down.
3rd and 3.
And it puts up a 4th and inches. And Alabama decides to go for it here early in the 4th quarter. He doesn't even come close to the line of scrimmage. And it's just by a host of tacklers, let's just say. Great defensive charge, low and hard. And it puts us down there, deep in their territory. And now Patrick Nix comebacks, hits a little under route. Watch the effort now, the fullback. Everything's extra effort at this point in the game. Everything is heart and desire. There's the great run down here. It puts it down inside the 10-yard line, down to 3. And a critical series here that makes the game a heart stopper for everybody.
You must remember, Alabama's a great defensive football.
That's right. They did a great job. That's not a fake field goal. It's a muffed snap. Not a great call, a muffed snap.
Scott Etheridge's got to work on his blocking.
That's right. And here we are. And boy, I tell you, all I could do was see was 8 points. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, Tennessee game for Alabama. And somehow this game could be hurt. Darrell McGee, great interception there. Great comeback. He got beat against Georgia on a big pass play. He makes the great play, Darrell did. And now we've got a chance to continue to get our drive going.
Tony Richardson kills that linebacker.
Killed a linebacker. Watch him use his blockers. And he was not going to be stopped this time. James Bostic is, everybody's here 140-something, 143 yards for the day. If he's not, everybody's all SEC. I don't know.
And the hardest lick he took was when Tony hit him in the end zone there.
Tony, I don't know where Tony's helmet went between the line of scrimmage and the goal line, but he tackled him full speed.
Now it's Hold'em, that one final time.
Well, again, look at the pressure after pressure after pressure. You've got to give the Alabama young men a great effort. They gave great effort, and they never quit Alabama. This was 2 great football programs playing the greatest rivalry in the country, and it went down to the wire. But look at them come back. Jason missed a sack there. And
one final time now.
And all you're thinking is Palmer going to make one play? That's all you could think the whole game. Right here, one interception could stop it, but it wasn't going to be. And every play just kept it going. And then it ended. It was a great, great win.
Oh, my, what a victory, what a victory. One for the folklore of Auburn football.
Well, like I say, this was a win for everyone at Auburn. We could not have had the season that we had without Coach Dye, who brought this thing back to Auburn, who brought that game to the Plains where it'll never leave. Without those fans, who this year showed that they could be the best in the country.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment with some very pertinent information. Get your pen and pencil.
To make sure they're happy.
Is that him? That's him.
You see, there are 2 key elements in the banking business. One being your people, the other being the level of service you provide.
That's Coach Bowden.
At Colonial, a customer can always count on getting the best of both. Good people and great service.
Looks like a good man, doesn't he?
Yep, the man's done a good job.
For week, the Auburn Network is preparing a highlight video of the Alabama game. A lot of exclusive video, a lot of great things that you wanted to see. The title of the video, Victory at Jordan-Hare, Part 2. It's only $19.95. It will be available at Parisian stores beginning December 1st. J&M and Andrews bookstores will also carry the video. Now, the network is also working on a season highlight video, which will be out very soon. It's called Attitude, the story of the 1993 Auburn Tigers, available in early December, well before Christmas. It will sell for $24.95, available at Parisian, local Auburn book outlets. They're also working on a hardcover book chronicling the 1993 season, I should say a softcover book. It's $14.95, available at Bookland, Books A Million stores, as well as local Auburn outlets. Now, that's the phone number where you can order all three of those. The phone number is 1-800-488-3883. We will give you that number one more time before the program is over, and we will be right back for the biggest celebration you have ever seen. A post-game like we are about to see, it's the last game of the year, and such a situation, Coach. I guess the fans and the players and everybody just felt that they had to stay and celebrate for a while.
Well, it was just an occasion meant for everyone, and I think you know, you can't plan it, you can't decide what's supposed to happen. We thought we would try to get out and say something early, but that really didn't work all that well. It just has to happen, and I mean, it was cold. That was real cold. It's the greatest thrill of my life. I've had being a part of that. My wife and I.
Well, the first thing you have to do now, you have to go through the regular stuff. You have to greet the other coach.
The ritual thing, and again, Coach Stahl is very gracious there at the middle of the field, and the fans and the players. Of course, this is a game about players. It's not a game about anything else but players that probably went to high school together, grew up in the same neighborhoods, and sometimes we're made out to be a lot different, but they're not.
And the Alabama fans are still in the stands.
It was just a great day, and I want to go see the students. I'll tell you, our students have become a big factor in the future of Auburn football again, and I want to come over and see the stands over here because everybody was such a part. I was so proud of them. It started at the pep rally Friday night. It all started, and we had a little pep rally, and it all started.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
It really was.
Gee whiz.
And it stands out there. His knee doesn't hurt at all after the season he had.
And what a way to finish his career after all he's been
Wayne
through.
Hall, I tell you, the guy's done so much for Auburn and been such a special part. Just to make sure he stays with us forever.
Look at perfect attitude on the matrix board.
That's what it's all about. It's not a new attitude, it's a renewed attitude. That's all it is at Auburn. There they come.
Breaking out the cigars.
Well, these guys wouldn't smoke them because their mamas watched this show. I did my mama watching, so I definitely wasn't going to smoke a cigar. And there's all the players so happy. And the coach died to come and be a part.
Yeah.
Coach Trickett is one of the best country dancers.
What a job he's done.
Oh, he's done a marvelous job. I knew it. I knew when I wanted it, and I got the job that I got to hire Rick Trickett. There's a lot of great coaches. He's one that I totally believed in. But and he's about my height, which makes it nice. But Reed McMillan has kind of always been the spokesman for as long as I can remember. And I think the person who orchestrated this team and brought this team together, I was honored to share the stand right there with Coach Pat Dye.
11 War Eagles in the dressing room this year, Coach. That's
I was going to say, nobody ever told me, do we do the War Eagle if we lose? I don't know. I've never been there.
No, you didn't.
Somebody better tell me. I don't want to know. But, and I think we all know that we've been through a very special season. And we have set the stage for building a future, recruiting-wise, completely, that's going to help. There are going to be some losses somewhere in the future, and there are going to be some, but we have built the foundation of an Auburn program that can go up and match anyone in the country.
Back with the final word in just a minute. That phone number up one more time for the three products, the highlight videos and the softcover book, 1-800-488-3883.
And, you know, I'd just like to take this time, too, to thank all of our sponsors. You know, seasons like this, programs like this couldn't be possible without a lot of people giving a lot of support. And we need you now. We need you in the future. Thank you so much for what you've meant to us and continue to mean to us.
Coach, this Auburn story may not be over. It rests in the hands of some AP voters, really.
Phil, that's exactly right. And I'm dead serious. If we're the only undefeated team at the end of the season, I want those AP voters to get out there and vote for the best football team the 11-0 Auburn Tigers if that's the way it goes.
Going to spend Thanksgiving with the family?
I'm gonna be there with my father down there in Tallahassee. I don't have a house yet, and hope they win a couple more.
All right, we will see you next year on the Auburn Football Review.
Coach Bowden's apparel provided by The Locker Room. This has been the Auburn Football Review, brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, the Caring Company, your Alabama Toyota dealer. I love what you do for me, Toyota. Likes hot dogs. One bite and you'll know why they say, when it's likes, it's gone. LDDS Communications, the official long-distance carrier of the Auburn Alumni Association. By Golden Flake Snack Foods. One taste and you're stuck on Golden Flake. Your Alabama John Deere dealer. Nothing runs like a deer. Great Southern Wood, makers of Osmos pressure-treated pine. If it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it. Colonial Bank, good people, great service. And by your Alabama Coca-Cola bottler, always Coca-Cola.
Well, I tell you what, it was literally, we have not had a chance to speak on the air, but it was literally a dream come true for Auburn and for Patrick Nix.
Yeah, you know, a couple of weeks ago, there were 6 or 8 things that had to happen for Auburn to have a chance at, well, 4 or 5 of them have happened, and now there are not so many things that have to happen. Is Auburn's dream season over, or is there a final chapter yet to be written? Well, here are a few things you might ponder. The only meaningful national championship that the Tigers can win is the Associated Press title. They jumped from 6th to 3rd in this week's ratings after an improbable weekend of upsets, including Notre Dame's embarrassing loss to Boston College and Miami's defeat at the hands of West Virginia. Now the only Florida State and Nebraska are above them. Number 1 Florida State must play number 7 Florida this Saturday at Florida Field, where Steve Spurrier's Gators have never lost. Florida State proved it was no super team by falling to Notre Dame. Number 2 Nebraska hosts 16th-ranked Oklahoma on Friday of this week, and Oklahoma win there would certainly improve Auburn's chances. Auburn, which cannot go to a bowl, could be taken out of the title picture early should Florida State win at Gainesville this week and Nebraska beat Oklahoma. That would in all probability match number 1 Florida State and number 2 Nebraska in the Orange Bowl, and the winner would be the AP National champion. Well, NBC's Today Show host, Bryant Gumbel, does not have a vote in the Associated Press poll, but after what he said this morning on the Today Show, Auburn fans wish he did.
Saturday's ball game, huh?
Yeah, that was an exciting game.
So
Boston College beating Notre Dame.
Who do you think
really
is number
exciting.
1?
I don't know. I don't know.
Really? Who would you vote for?
No, I'm not. Bucky's telling me West Virginia, and I know that's not right, is it?
Auburn.
Nebraska?
Auburn.
Oh.
Auburn. Station break.
Now, I bet David Housel will give Bryant Gumbel a seat in the Auburn press box to any game he wants to see next year. Troy State could bring a Division I AA match.
A dream season.
Magical season.
This has got to be an incredible 3 months for Terry Bowden.
All of the adjectives apply in this one. Terry Bowden, who, by the way, has been named National Coach of the Year by the Sporting News, would like for Auburn to win the Associated Press National Championship and his dad's team, Florida State, to win the CNN Coaches Poll national title. At an Auburn news conference today, Bowden also responded to post-game comments by Alabama coach Gene Stallings, who criticized the officiating in Auburn's win over Alabama and said he was told that Auburn wide receiver Frank Sanders pushed the defender in order to make the touchdown catch that turned the game into Auburn's favor.
I thought we won the game because we played hard and played the best football game. I think officiating was outstanding in that ball game. I looked at every penalty. We had more holding penalties called than they did. They were just declined. Illegal procedure penalties are ones the officials have they have to call it. It's done before the snap of the ball. And the touchdown that we threw, there was pushing. Anybody that saw the film saw there was no pushing whatsoever. It was a perfectly played ball. It wasn't even close. But the player that got beat said there was. And so now, I don't think officiating had anything to do with the outcome of that football game. Penalties did, but not officiating. But as far as the relationships with Coach Stallings, if we're not close, it's because we come from different age groups, different backgrounds, and we coach against each other as rivals.
Last Saturday's game was tough on starting quarterbacks. Both went down with knee injuries. Stan White had arthroscopic surgery on his knee yesterday in Birmingham. It went well, and Stan says he'll be ready for the 2 All-Star games he's been invited to play in. Alabama's Jay Barker is scheduled for reconstructive surgery tomorrow for a torn anterior cruciate ligament. There's no word yet on his availability for spring training.
All right, Terry, thank you very much. Congratulations on a terrific season. You're number one, we know, as far as the Auburn fans are concerned. Thanks a lot.
Let's go!
Six-man rush. Werfel's going to throw in the end zone. Pass is intercepted wide open at the 10, to the 15, to the 20. He's at the 30. He's at the 40. Giving chase as Werfel won't catch him. To the 30, to the 20, to the 10. He is gone. 95 yards. Touchdown, Auburn!
They defied the experts. They ignored the critics.
Bailey, he's got it! Great catch! Touchdown, Auburn!
They believed in themselves when no one else did.
Everybody here, I can't say offense like everybody here, great job. Men, you believe in yourself, you can do anything.
The 1993 Auburn Tigers, the believers. Against seemingly insurmountable odds, these Auburn men brought joy to the hearts of Auburn people.
Stan White's going to give up the middle. Fullback carry, broke tackle, struck another tackle, 20, 15, 10, 5, he's gone! Touchdown, Auburn!
Led by a first-year coach and a determined group of players, this team began a quest for respect.
Again, motion out of the backfield, gives it Johnson, he's up. Did he make it? I don't think he did. I think they stopped him. Yes, 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 they stopped him.
They battled through adversity. They persisted through pain. Together, they developed an attitude. A winning attitude, forged through hard work and effort, strengthened by their unwavering faith in one another.
Nick is going to float one for Sanders. Sanders, oh, he caught it at the 2, and he dived in. Touchdown, Auburn! Touchdown, Auburn! Oh, my goodness!
On December 17, 1992, a new era began on the Plains. Samford's Terry Bowden was hired as the 23rd head coach in Auburn history.
I want to appeal to all the good people of Auburn, to our alumni, to the Auburn family, former players, those who this football program means so much to join behind me and help us take this program not to places where it's never been, but to the levels that y'all have already obtained and want to go back to and want to go to again.
Despite the hiring of this highly respected and talented young coach, the preseason was filled with question marks. Pending NCAA sanctions hung over the team like a dark cloud. There were only 5 seniors in the starting lineup. In August, players and coaches were still getting acquainted. Then, just days before the season opener against Ole Miss, Auburn received its sanctions from the NCAA. Through no fault of their own, there would be no bowl and no television for this team. Though times were hard and the situation difficult, Coach Terry Bowden and the men on this team did not lose sight of their goal. The mood surrounding the team continued to be upbeat.
The one thing that builds confidence more than anything is getting wins, and especially early on against a very tough Ole Miss team and playing a tough game and an SEC game to start the season off, I think it helped us tremendously.
From the opening kickoff, it was apparent that Auburn came ready to play. On their first possession, the Tigers marched 54 yards in 13 plays, quickly putting points on the board with a Scott Etheridge field goal. Auburn's defense played like the Tigers of old, holding the Rebels scoreless for 3 quarters. This was the kind of tough, gritty defense to which Auburn fans had become accustomed. The offensive line, led by seniors Wayne Gandy and Anthony Redmond, dominated the line of scrimmage. It opened gaping holes for junior tailback James Bostic, who gained 154 yards on 28 carries.
Here's White, the toss sweep to the tailback. Bostic shakes off the tackle. Bostic crosses the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Auburn!
The character of the 1993 Auburn football team began to surface when the Rebels mounted a fourth-quarter rally. The Tigers stood their ground when it counted. They took home their first win.
The reason we won that game is because we looked forward to that game all summer. And I don't know as much as if Ole Miss did. And they weren't as excited about it. Because I tell you, we wanted that game, I think, more than most games we won here this year.
They also gave their coach his first win. A new era had dawned indeed.
And then you fought 60 minutes. I told you went on a 60-minute ball game. And it came down to a 6-minute ball. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be part of it. Let's keep on working.
Quarterback Stan White was unquestionably the leader of the offensive unit. As a 4-year starter, he was a force in the huddle, a beacon of strength for the younger players.
He comes out and he makes passes that are just unbelievable, that you wouldn't see. I mean, being dragged down by 2 players and he still completes a pass. As the games go on, we see those passes come along and we see him making the moves, dodging tacklers. And, you know, he bestows in us a kind of confidence that he's going to do his job. All we have to do is do our job.
Against Samford, his 3 touchdown passes paved the way to a 35-7 win. At LSU, Tiger fans would watch as White's name moved ahead of the legendary Pat Sullivan in the Auburn record book.
Here's White, going to play fake. White's going to air one out down the middle to Sanders. He's got it at midfield. Great play.
Against the Bayou Bengals, Stan became Auburn's all-time passing yardage leader. Auburn had not won in Death Valley since 1939. But on this night, no one was going to spoil the Auburn party. Auburn's offensive onslaught that night netted 550 yards of total offense. White passed for 282 yards, threw a touchdown pass, and ran one in himself. With this surprising 34-10 win at Baton Rouge, the Tigers were 3-0. If they could win at LSU, perhaps they could win anywhere.
Now we got a game ball now. You know who this got to go to. The all-time passing leader in the history of Auburn.
White was fortunate this year to be surrounded with excellent receivers. Junior Thomas Bailey and senior Sean Carter were consistent all season long. Frank Sanders emerged as one of the finest big play receivers in Auburn history. Big plays were quickly becoming this team's trademark.
Here's a toss sweep. It's Bostic looking for room. Broke one tackle. Stumbles in there. He's in. Touchdown, Auburn!
In week 4, when Southern Mississippi scored 17 points in the third quarter to take the lead, the offense responded.
Sets up, going to go for broke. Bailey's got the step. Bailey, he's got it. Great catch. Touchdown, Auburn!
Tigers had retaken the lead for good. It wasn't a thing of beauty, but Auburn pulled out a 35-24 victory over the Golden Eagles. The Tigers were 4-0. Still, many wondered when the dream would end. Against Vanderbilt, it nearly did. The pesky Commodores kept Auburn's offense in check, with the exception of an impressive third-quarter drive.
Rolls left. A lot of open field, but he'll throw on the run. Caught by Sanders, 45, 40, 35, 30. Watch the foot race. At the 25 to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. He is hit from behind, and down he goes at the 4-yard line.
James Bostic capped off the drive, giving the Auburn offense its only score of the night. This was a night that belonged to the defense.
Simon rolling to his left, setting up, throwing pass, intercepted at the 40, the 35, the 30, the 25, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. He's gone. Brian Robinson, touchdown, Auburn!
In the fourth quarter, the defense made a stand. In a dramatic goal line stand, it stonewalled the Commodores 3 times inside the Auburn 5.
Simon from the power eye with 2 tight ends. Again, motion out of the backfield. Give to Johnson. He's up. Did he make it? I don't think he did. I think they stopped him. Yes, 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 they stopped him.
I mean, we were down there on the goal line, and as a linebacker and as a person that wants to be a leader on that defense, you know, I stepped up and I was telling everybody, I mean, we haven't lost it yet. I mean, the game isn't won. I mean, behind the goal line, they had to get through the goal line first. And, I mean, it was kind of shaky down there, but it was no doubt in my mind that we could come together as a defense and stop them all 4 plays. And, you know, unfortunately, I was in on 2 of the big stops and everything, but it was this whole team defense type thing. I mean, everybody did their job, therefore it opened up situations where linebackers made the plays.
Linebackers Anthony Harris and Jason Miska combined for 35 tackles. Vanderbilt would not cross the 50-yard line again. The Tigers emerged unscathed with a 14-10 win.
That's the sweetest one so far, if you ask me. That was sweet. 5-0, we got Mississippi State at home.
While the offense had grabbed the early headlines, now with mid-season approaching, the defense was beginning to take center stage. This was looking more and more like the Auburn defense of old. It made the big plays and the little plays, playing disciplined, hard-nosed football. While it had its share of talent, its true success came from the attitude created by walk-ons like linebacker Jason Miska and defensive end Willie Whitehead. Despite its youth, the defense was playing with the poise of veterans.
Really, at the beginning of the season, we just wanted to come out and prove ourselves to everyone once again. And with us having the down years, the past 2 years, we really just thought that this season was a chance for us to do something to help ourselves and the university.
When Mississippi State came to Jordan-Hare Stadium October 9th, the experts believed that the clock was approaching midnight in Auburn's Cinderella season. The Bulldogs moved the ball early, but the Auburn defense held State to just 2 field goals in the first half.
He's back there to throw, and he's got all day to do it. Down the near side, pass, intercepted beautifully, down at the Auburn 1-yard line. Calvin Jackson played it to perfection.
Meanwhile, The Tiger offense was poised to strike.
Wideouts all over the place, and he's going to fire downfield. Sanders has it on the dead run. 35 to 30, 25 to 20, 15, 10, 5. He's gone. Touchdown, Auburn! 57 yards, White to Sanders. Beautifully executed play.
Six minutes later, sophomore sensation Steve Davis took a Stan White pass and rambled for another touchdown. By the afternoon's end, Auburn had won a 37-17 victory, assuring the Tigers of a winning season. A key to the victory had been the play of Auburn's offensive line. The men up front were paving the way to success.
Each one of them, just like I said, gave 100% every time, starting with Wayne Gandy. He was the leader of that line, and then you had Shannon Robick at center, and Jason Taylor, and Todd Bolin, and Willie Anderson, that was a freshman, just stepped up and really helped us tremendously this year. And then Anthony Redmond and Andy Fuller, both being two starters for us last season, really contributed a lot with their experience too.
Against the Bulldogs, tailback James Bostic again rushed for more than 100 yards. He was the kind of weapon the Tigers had not had since the days of Bo Jackson and Brent Fullwood. In fact, he's the first Auburn back to gain more than 1,000 yards in a season since Fullwood did it in 1986. His understudy, Steve Davis, was also effective. Against Samford in his collegiate debut, his tremendous potential was evident.
White toss sweep. There's Davis. A hole at right tackle. Davis hammers inside the 5. Ran over a man and into the end zone. Touchdown, Auburn!
The unsung heroes of the running game were fullbacks Reed McMillan and Tony Richardson. While blocking for Bostic and Davis, they also caught the ball and did the dirty work, gaining the tough yards up the middle. The Tigers were 6-0 and playing well going into the showdown with Florida. But not everyone believed this was a team of destiny. Not yet.
Every game seemed to give us a little bit of something to learn from, to grow from, but not until the Florida game, not until we go into a fourth-ranked team, a team that on paper you could not find any way we could win.
When Florida came to town October 16th, Auburn would obviously need all the strength and fortitude it could muster. The two teams would combine to score 41 points in the first half alone. Yet it was the Tiger defense that put Auburn's first points on the board.
Six-man rush. Werfel's going to throw in the end zone. Pass is intercepted. Wide open at the 10, to the 15, to the 20. He's at the 30. He's at the 40. Giving chase is Werfel. Won't catch him. To the 30, to the 20, to the 10. He is gone. 95 yards. Touchdown, Auburn! Calvin Jackson!
In the second quarter, a Stan White bootleg put Auburn in front 14-10, but the lead was short-lived. Florida surged to a 27-14 halftime lead. With the Gators' experience, it appeared the Auburn dream season might have come to an end. But in the second half, the Tiger defense turned up the heat, holding Florida to just 40 yards rushing the final 30 minutes. Auburn made it close midway in the third quarter on a 23-yard touchdown pass to Tony Richardson. As with all big games, it would be won or lost in the fourth quarter.
White's going to give it to Bostic. Racing to get outside, won't make it. Broken tackle. He's going to go. Touchdown, Auburn! They have Bostic over on the far flank, trying to turn the corner. I don't see how James broke out of that.
The Tigers took the lead on Bostic's run and widened the margin moments later.
Here's Bostic giving it off to Sanders. End around Sanders. Got clean sailing to the 5. He's in! Touchdown, Auburn!
But Florida was not dead yet. The Gators tied the score with just over 5 minutes remaining in the game. This young team could have folded. Instead, the Tigers marched defiantly to the winning score. After taking 4.5 minutes off the clock, Scott Etheridge took center stage.
Waiting for the snap, the spot, kick away, plenty long. Kick is good! It's good! Etheridge, at a minute 21 in the ball game, has kicked it through. And Auburn breaks out on top, 38-35.
There was no time for a Gator miracle finish. The Auburn Tigers were 7-0. Who would have believed it?
Man, listen now, man. Hey, no, everybody here, I can't say offense like everybody here, great job. Men, you believe in yourself, you can do anything. You go to top 4 now with I don't care where they rank. I don't care. They can rank us nothing for all I care. You're there now, you're there. It's a great win, man. That's a guy I'm so proud of.
Against Florida, special teams again proved essential to victory. Scott Etheridge became the most reliable kicker in Auburn history and did not miss an extra point in his entire career. The nation's leading punter, Terry Daniel, had his longest punt of the year against Florida, a 71-yarder.
Daniel waiting at the 15. There's the snap, and he launches a beauty, a rocket. Wobbly spiral that's going all the way through and out of the end zone on the roll. Man alive, what a kick. 71 yards by Terry Daniel.
The 7-0 Tigers received a chilly welcome in Arkansas with 15-mile-an-hour winds, snow on the ground, and a wind chill of 10 degrees. When the game ended, however, it was the Razorbacks who were left in the cold. The warm glow of victory once again belonged to the Auburn Tigers. Despite the frigid temperatures, this game evolved like many others this season. After falling behind 7-0, the Tiger offense answered quickly. Stan White took it in to knot the score at 7-all. Defense obviously would play a major role.
Both ends are split for Barry Lunny. Retreating, setting up the throw. Has time, fires, pass. Intercepted at the 35 to the 30 to the 25 to the 20. Robinson to the 15 to the 10. He's to the 5. He's in there. Touchdown, Auburn!
The running game would also prove vital to Auburn's success. James Bostic's 12-yard touchdown run put the Tigers up by 10. But the workhorse of the Auburn backs this day would be Reed McMillan. He pounded the Arkansas defense for 91 yards on 12 carries. His 16-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter put this game out of reach. After an easy win over New Mexico State, the Tigers headed into the Georgia game undefeated at 9-0. Some Auburn people couldn't believe their eyes. Even the most loyal Auburn fans had to wonder when or if the streak would end. Perhaps it was better to simply have faith. True to form, the Georgia game would take fans on yet another emotional ride.
Stan White's going to give up the middle. Fullback carries, broke tackle, broke another tackle, 20, 15, 10, 5, he's gone! Touchdown, Auburn!
James Bostic would add 2 touchdown runs of his own to give the undefeated but underdog Tigers a 21-7 lead at the half. Chris Schelling appeared to put the game away with a 73-yard interception return for a touchdown in the third quarter. But that's when the fun began. The favored Bulldogs twice came back to make it a 7-point game. The Tigers responded with a Mark Johnson interception and a Chris Schelling recovery of an onside kick. SEC Player of the Week James Bostic finally put this one out of reach. As the Athens sky faded to orange and blue, the Tigers, the Believers, were still undefeated. At 10-0, they were now assured of having the best record in the SEC in 1993. The scene was now set for the climactic showdown with the Crimson Tide at Jordan-Hare.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna have a big dime in the middle of my room. Hey, they can play it back. They can play for the conference championship, but we're the best in the conference. One on the field. Fellas, I'm proud of you. I am so proud of you. Nobody, they don't believe somewhere else, but you believed right here. They can put you an underdog and you're 7th in the nation, but you believe. And then I'm proud of you because you don't need nobody else to believe as long as you believe. And you did. And that's a great job. Defense, great effort. Offense, way to put the points up. Great overall win, man. Great overall win. We're going to savor it all night long. And then on Sunday morning, it's Bama.
The man behind the success of this remarkable team was Coach Terry Bowden. Somehow, he ignored the preseason distractions and focused this team, his team, on the goals they had set.
We needed a boost of confidence, and that's what Coach Bowden brought in. He brought a breath of fresh air and the positives that go with winning and the belief, and I think his belief in himself really carried over into us, and I think that's the reason we had such a successful season this year.
Although it was Coach Bowden's first year, he realized the importance of the Alabama game his first day on the job.
I will be the new coach at Auburn. I will probably not be accepted as the new coach till I beat Alabama. I know that. That's part of it. That's the way it is, and that's the way it should be.
On this, the most important game of these players' lives, they appeared loose, well prepared, and quietly confident. But they were playing the defending national champions, a team with a tradition of writing their own fairy tale success stories.
8 yards. Here's Williams now in a tailback, and he's going to give on the end-around reverse to Kevin Lee in the open field. 40, 45, 50. Lee may go. He's at the 40, the 35, the 30, down this near sideline to the 25, to the 20, to the 10. He is gone. Touchdown, Alabama, 63 yards.
But this Auburn team had come too far and endured too much to be denied this close to the ultimate goal.
They break out of the eye. Barker again to throw from the end zone. He's in trouble. Barker goes down. That's an Auburn safety. He was hit from behind by Jason Miska. Auburn has recorded a safety.
The Tigers battled back the only way they knew how, with all-out effort and intensity. But midway in the third quarter, there was an unexpected turn of events. Quarterback Stan White went down with a knee injury. Patrick Nix, who had never been tested in the heat of an epic battle, would now take center stage. If he had any uncertainties, he sure didn't let on.
Out of shotgun, Patrick Nix. Alabama bringing everybody. Nix is going to float one for Sanders. Sanders, oh, he caught it at the 2, and he dived in. Touchdown, Auburn! Touchdown, Auburn! Oh, my goodness! Sanders went up over Tommy Johnson or Antonio Langum. He caught the ball at the 2. How he held it, I don't know, but he dived into the end zone, and Auburn's right back at the thick of it.
Without warming up on 4th and 15, Nix had thrown the biggest touchdown pass of his life in the biggest game of them all.
Patrick hops in the huddle with a command-type voice. He says, 78 stays, he take off. And he said, Tony Richardson said, line, give him a chance to make a good throw. And he said, Frank, I'm going to throw the ball to you no matter what. And I said, okay. I just ran out to the side, ran a straight go route. And, he made a good throw, a perfect throw, actually. He gave him a good position in front of the deep defender. I just out-jumped the guy, turned around and over to the end zone.
The play turned the game around. Alabama would never threaten the Auburn end zone again. Early in the fourth quarter, Scott Etheridge put the Tigers in front.
There's the snap, the spot, the kick is away. This kick is good. And Auburn leads 15-14. Etheridge from 26 yards has given Auburn the lead for the first time here in the second half.
Now, with their goal in sight, Auburn's defense turned up the heat one more time. Twice on 4th down, they denied the Crimson Tide. The Tigers had won this test of will.
Barker to throw. Barker's going long for Todrick Malone. Ball is intercepted down at the Auburn 30-yard line. It was Del McGee. Del McGee on the interception.
On the very next play, James Bostic would put his signature on this classic.
On a first down play, here up the middle, Bostic, 5 yards, 10 yards, 45 Bostic, 50 Bostic, racing to the 45 to the 40, breaking and tackle to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, he's gone! Touchdown, Auburn!
Boy, did James Bostic ever break that one. He had 3 touchdowns against Georgia, coming in this week as the SEC Player of the Week offensively, 183 yards in that game. And that big man just broke it over the right side and outran everybody and broke another tackle around the 25-yard line. Great speed, great power. What blocking by the Auburn offensive line.
70 yards.
This most remarkable year had ended in the most remarkable way. Auburn 22, Alabama 14. The Tigers were a perfect 11-0.
And the Auburn Tigers have put away the Crimson Tide by the score of 22-14. 11-0! 11-0! 11-0!
As the team spilled out onto the field to celebrate, it's likely they still didn't realize just what they had done. Emotion spilled over to the locker room, where the past and present came together in a unique celebration of Auburn spirit.
Listen, just
sit down. Let's let Coach Steve for something.
Let me just. I won't be able to suck it, man, in this, and it's not going to be emotional. It is an emotional day, and it should be for you from a standpoint of being excited about the events of today. But I wanted to come by the dressing room, win, lose, or draw. I was going to be here to thank Terry and his staff and all of the people, Dr. Muse, administrators, everybody, for making me feel a part of this football team. Now, you can't imagine how important that's been to me. The players, same thing. Just, I mean, our relationship, and it's just been made my life a joyous one this fall, and watching you play, watching you grow, and being able to pull for you, and knowing the kind of quality and the character that we had in this program.
Today, and I don't have to tell you, but today, you have set the standard. The greatest football team ever to play at Auburn University, 11-0, because of what you did on the field, 11-0. It's never been done before. There's better teams, maybe. There can be better, but you have done something nobody else can do, and no one will ever take it. You'll be the benchmark that they look to. And then one more thing. Absolutely. Today, I became an Auburn man.
1 year to go 11-0, to be the best team in the conference, to have a chance at winning a national championship. I mean, it just all came out between Coach Dye and myself and the players and Coach Dye and the players. It was probably as emotional a moment as you have had around Auburn for a long time, as the old blended with the new, showed everybody again that Auburn's going to be around forever and ever and ever.
For a guy like me, who's always, as far as football and my sport career has gone, I haven't had too many victories, not that much success. And to reach this plateau and on this level, to go out a perfect season is something that I can remember and celebrate and always have in my heart.
The 1993 Auburn Tigers, the team with the perfect attitude.